We are live. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and well, actually, we curse too much to wish for boys and girls. But dogs and cats and miserable soccer fans over all over the world. I want to welcome you to Apostate Radio for Sunday, April 13th. 2025. I am, as always, Isaiah Carter, coming to you live from the County of Kings, the People's Republic of Brooklyn. And I am joined, as ever, by my dog coming to us from the land of the Hartford, of the former Hartford Whalers, Cold Pete's, and lots of mountains. Mr. Nostra Chavez. What's good?
Big dog Chavez in the house.
Chavez. Oh my Lord. This is what a week, man. How are you?
Good. I'm very good, brother. How you doing?
Yeah. It's been a crazy week.
Been a crazy week, man.
Besides the stuff that we talked about earlier, and my team looking like they played last night. DC, and I'll talk about it a little later, but DC,
you talk soccer, I'll eat one of these meat pies.
A meat? What is that? Oh, well, there you go. DC, dead ass played like they were trying to get Troy Lesane fired. That was one of the worst games I'd ever seen. And I'll talk about it towards the end of the show, because I have a special rant about that. But we got a special guest tonight. We got a lot to get to.
Yeah.
Was that a Costa Rican meat pie or something? What was
no, it's something from Trader Joe's. I'm assuming it's supposed to be like a British meat pie, but I don't know.
Oh God.
First time I ever had it. It's not bad, actually. It's like a chicken pot meat pie.
Oh, okay. Was it chicken and leek or something?
Oh, it's not leaking yet, but
that's not. Oh, that's not. What...
No, I don't know. I think it has peas in it and carrots and chicken and some kind of gravy, some British shit.
Well, there's a British supermarket, like a real deal British supermarket in Manhattan,
but it's great.
It's Myers and Keswick or however you pronounce it. And they have like steak and ale, steak and mushroom pies. They've got chicken.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
I think it's something like that Trader Joe's made.
Yeah.
Not bad. It wasn't bad.
So we've got a special guest tonight. We had quite a heavy show last week. Shout to our good friend Mr. Adam Coleman. Again, I mean that was a very heavy show, very heavy book. I am enjoying it so far. Please, once again, make sure that you get this. The Children We Left Behind, on sale now. Please go to Wrong Speak. Hold on, let me just make sure I get the website correctly. Wrongspeak.net. Wrongspeak.net. So yes, please make sure buy my homeboy's book.
Read that book.
Read that book. Yes.
That's an order.
But tonight we are joined by a comedian coming to us from the West Coast. I believe he's I think he's out of Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken. Comedian extraordinaire. For some odd reason, people just keep thinking he's Jewish, but with a last name like his, he might actually be Sicilian, but we don't know for sure. Ladies and gentlemen,
speculation.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, comedian and I would say a real time with Bill Maher enjoyer.
Me too,
Mr. Eric Abbenante. What's good?
Oh, thank you so much, gentlemen. Chavez, it's great for you to join us, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
popping in for your own show. Glad you're on time.
Well, you know, You know, a wizard shows up exactly when he intends to. He's never late. He's never early.
No, real honor to be on, especially following Adam Coleman. That was just an amazing episode. Definitely, people go check that out because that was something. How am I going to top it? We'll find out.
We will find out.
You got a lot of pressure, Eric. You got a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You also got to, since I think you're the second comedian on the podcast, you're gonna have to beat Edgar the Muppet, or Puppet.
Oh God, I've had to compete against a potato before in this context, so we'll see if I'm better.
Wait. A potato? How'd that happen?
No, I joked with my friend that she had on a potato as a comedian before she had on me. So that was.
Don't underestimate potatoes.
Yeah, the potato is funny though. You gotta if the potato has chops, that potato's hard to follow. Just like Adam Coleman.
If he has enough chops, will become a bag of potato chips.
Yeah, actually reminds me of an old video that I remember. Do you remember the rapper the late Sean Price?
Yeah, I don't know his stuff that well, but I know that name. Who was he with? Who was his crew?
Sean Price,
if he had one,
was with Boot Camp. Well, he was with like Duck Down Records. Boot Camp he rapped with Boot Camp Click, but years ago he went to Pawn Stars. Remember the old show Pawn Stars?
Yes.
He went on Pawn Stars and literally tried to sell a potato to Chumley and the two hosts of the show. It was
fucking Chumley. Chumley probably ate it.
You know what he probably did? He probably did. Oh my God.
My potato expert. I'm not sure how much this is worth. I need to call in an expert here.
Yeah.
That was how the whole bit worked. That was how the whole entire bit worked. So, calling
in the top guy from the Lay's potato chip factory.
Yeah. I gotta call my guy from Idaho.
Right. My Yukon Gold with like if you really wanted to, could you imagine if Glenn Beck went to do it like how they're always selling gold?
Yes,
right.
They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. Just imagine if we were selling Yukon Gold potatoes. Could you imagine?
The value hasn't dropped.
Yeah.
It's investment, folks.
Yes. Before we really get into things, again, just want to thank you all for coming on to the show. Those of you, thank you for watching, listening, however you prefer to consume our product. You can follow us on X at Isaiah L. Carter or at Nostra Chavez. Our show's X handle is Apostate Radio. And of course, if you feel so inclined, you can support the show at buymeacoffee.com/apostate radio. We are doing very, very big things. We are trying to do as much as possible.
I was telling everybody last week, Eric, that that I've, I don't know if you need to know this, but I wear underwear with holes in them, and I wear socks with holes in them.
Keep going.
Yeah, so I have shoes with holes in them. I need to upgrade my wardrobe. So people need to buy me a coffee at Apostate Radio, me and my brother, Isaiah L. Carter.
And by the way, that was mentioned on the last episode. Are you going to mention that every episode?
I think so. I think it's if it works, it works. Right. If it works, it works, man.
Hey, man. Listen, I want to. Well, but I really want to. We really want to shout out a gentleman by the name. He goes by EDM Techno Rave.
Yeah,
on
music creator.
Music creator. That guy is he's probably one of our. I shouldn't say one of our. He is our most supportive viewer, and
putting food on my kid's table right now.
Yes, we are very grateful for him. So let's get to it, man.
Yeah. A lot to talk about.
Since I'm doing my best Adam Coleman impersonation, because Adam Coleman is the Black Tim Pool. Okay. Yes, he's the Black Tim Pool. Yes. So
You could call him the Blackpool.
the Blackpool. Yes, Blackpool. There you go.
It's an English.
Eric, who are you? What do you do?
well, so first of all, you referenced, is he Sicilian? Is he Jewish? You don't need to check my early life section. I'm both.
Oh, okay.
No
I see
way.
it. I can
Are you
see it. And Sicilian. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wait,
just but yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian. Started in LA after the pandemic. We they wouldn't let us in the building, so we moved out here to Dallas, Texas, beautiful Dallas, where freedom lies.
Dallas, all right.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful state. They treat you like adults out here. Unfortunately, too many people are moving in, but it is a wonderful state. So no, I when I moved out here, as a response to the pandemic and all the censorship, me and my wife, you can find her at lilahart.com and love Lila Hart. She is touring she's a comedian as well, and by the end of this year, she will have done all 50 states in this nation performed in. So,
nice.
Pretty
quite
proud,
a thing to do.
Pretty proud of her for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we released American History of Voter Fraud right behind me. It's our debut documentary, and it became a cult classic. It really is. It is the first and still only to this day history of documented voter fraud or rigged elections in this nation's history. And we basically, we go through three elections. Probably the most interesting one would be, and then all the ones in between. But 1960 is probably the most interesting one for your audience until the 2020 election, obviously. But 1960 LBJ, and JFK versus Nixon. That is a fascinating. A lot of people don't know what that election was like. First of all, they stopped the counting in the middle of the night.
Oh, wow.
2020.
Wow.
We show you footage from 1960 in that day. Probably the thing I'm most proud of in this film, and there's a lot of things in this film that I'm really proud of, but we show you footage of January 6, 1961.
That scared the shit out of me. You see January 6th, I've trauma from that.
Voter fraud will get you sneezing, but so we actually go through January 6, 1961, and we show you JFK offering an alternate slate of electors and Nixon accepting them. And so kind of the one of the big messages of the film is that actually the people on January 6th were either instigated, infiltrated, or duped, however you want to put it.
On the recent January 6th. 2021.
January 6, 2021, they were unfortunately duped into interrupting the process of actually what you would do to review the voter fraud. January 6th is meant to be that day, and unfortunately, and that is because of the election that we go over in the 1860s that allowed the Electoral Count Act. And
wait a second. Hold on. Not to cut you off, but I just want to make sure that I'm following this correctly. Are you saying that January 6th, that riot outside, was actually meant to be the distraction to eliminate looking through the actual voter fraud?
Yes, that is the accusation, essentially, is that violence was instigated, allegedly, by intelligence agencies to interrupt the presenting of the evidence that is customary on January 6th.
Who was going to present that evidence, though, Eric?
So they had like 6 states, right? It was going to be, you had various people. I think Ted Cruz was one of the 6 people.
You might be right about that. I think I heard about that.
Recall. Yeah. It was going to be like 6 states, 12 hours. It was going to be boring, but it was going to be an excellent civics lesson for the whole country. And honestly, the evidence is either accepted or rejected, just like with Hawaii in January 6, 1961. They presented the evidence. That was Hawaii's first American election. They had errors that were confirmed. The governor in that situation, the governor of Hawaii, even though they acknowledged that they had errors,
that was Chief Kalalaʻu.
Yeah, exactly. It was the Hawaiian punch symbol. Yeah, that was the governor at the time. and
antlers and everything.
Yeah,
exactly. Red antlers.
Yeah, and so
wow.
You got to mix in some fun with the history. Anyway, so in their first election, they acknowledged that we have errors, but the governor doesn't have the authority to change those. The only person that can do this is the Congress on January 6th, the following year. And so that is why you even see Nixon, who was the vice president at the time for Eisenhower, he was essentially playing the role of Mike Pence. If you think about it.
Wow.
And he accepted his opponent's alternate slate of electors there. So when the media says like fake electors, I actually find that, semantically to be incorrect, because they were alternate electors. Whether they were to be accepted or rejected was going to be contingent upon the evidence. I do believe one state, I think it's Nevada, they might have incorrectly gone about the process where they were declaring themselves as already like the alternate electors without going through the process. There was one state that did it incorrectly, if I recall. So it's a little murky, right? It wasn't perfect, but in the end, that was really what was supposed to happen on January 6th in 2021, and it didn't occur. And
so Eric, can you explain what alternate electors are?
Yeah. So in Hawaii, for instance, JFK presented an alternate slate of electors. And what that means is in, the election had occurred. Nixon had won the state of Hawaii. We even show you footage of every state and what they had declared on election night. Fun fact, they had California for the wrong candidate there at the time. And so Nixon is basically, he has these electors that are supposed to go to him because he won Hawaii. Well, on January 6th, they actually reviewed the evidence, and the alternate slate representing JFK, the alternate slate of electors, they were accepted. Okay. And so it turned about that JFK had won.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I got that. All right. Maybe you probably explained that before, but I was too little slow.
Yeah. The history nerds will say that Nixon said that even though what he is doing, this is not meant to set a precedent. But let's be honest, when you do something, that sets a precedent.
Yes, exactly.
So it's kind of easy for him to say that. It's a cop-out. And when I hear that, I find it a funny argument because it doesn't really hold water.
So you don't. So basically, what I'm blown away by is we came to talk about, comedy and everything, and we're going right to January 6th. I love it, because here's the thing. For someone like me, I used to be much more liberal, we'll call it. I was a faithful Democrat, and I told you to put that cup away. That Dallas Cowboys cup has got to go.
First of all, I revel in all the Dallas losing. When you're here and it's local, it's so much more enjoyable. When you get to hear the Dallas Cowboys fans every time Dak Prescott screws up, it is just glorious. So you're missing out, buddy.
Listen, I am a Baltimore Ravens fan. Okay. And that, I grew up in Baltimore, and I've been a fan of the Ravens since from 1996, from the day they moved from Cleveland. So I honestly, the reason why I get such a kick out of the Cowboys is because living here in New York, a lot of my my interactions are with people who are either Jets or Giants fans. And since the Giants and the Cowboys are in the same division, it's like you both suck. You know what I mean?
The Jets are irrelevant, so you ignore their fans.
Well, again, the joke I have is that there's no difference between the Giants and the Jets except one. I'm convinced they're actually the same exact franchise, except that one team is blue and the other one is green.
It's like Inter and AC Milan.
I'm going to call you out. You have such great takes. This is ridiculous. Are you serious? The New York Giants have 2 Super Bowls like legendary Super Bowls recently. The Jets, they have this.
It's Joe Namath
in the finger. That's
Joe
it.
Namath at Super Bowl III and the butt fumble. Mark Sanchez's entire career.
Drunkenly hitting on Susie Colbert or whoever it was.
Oh, yeah.
All they got. Okay, those are the Jets' glory moments. And you're comparing them to the Giants, who literally stopped a perfect season. The Dolphins fans across the world thank the Giants for stopping that perfect season.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. My cousin's a Dolphin fan.
Champagne continues to pop every single year. By the way, rest in peace to Mercury Morris. We lost him.
I forgot about that.
The great. But
Mercury Morris.
How dare you, Chavez?
I don't know if I know Mercury Morris, man. I know the planet Mercury.
Where did you go to school? How dare you?
Oh, dear.
Connecticut.
Oh, dear.
The education system is so poor up in Connecticut. Clearly, if you don't know about great Mercury Morris,
I don't know who the hell is Mercury Morris. Is this a football player?
Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead, Eric. 1972 perfect season Dolphins. I mean,
the Shula, who's under Shula.
Yeah. Okay. So you had Kick, you had Zonka, and then you had Morris. It was the greatest triumvirate backfield in the history.
Okay. All right. I think I've heard of this. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you had he was the speed, and then Zonka was the power. Okay,
Larry Zonka.
Yeah,
I know that name.
Yeah, he was.
You kind of look like him a little bit.
Me? I look like
you.
I look like him.
It's the beard.
He must be a handsome motherfucker then.
So, oh God, this.
Anyways, we don't got to get it. Speaking of Baltimore, I listened to a podcast with you, Eric, and I know you have a story that relates to your voter fraud documentary that might interest Isaiah.
Wow, look at
a certain poet. I do my homework.
He did his research. Wow, he may come in way late, but he actually did his research.
Oh my God,
I'm so impressed. No, really. Okay, so what people don't realize is voter fraud evolved a lot over time. And so the old school form of voter fraud, which I just found fascinating, was they would abduct and beat the hell out of you until you voted for the candidate that they wanted you to vote for. This was called cooping. Okay. And the famous poet Edgar Allan Poe, who Chavez brilliantly brings up because he was the reason for the naming of the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep, that's right. Quote the Raven.
But anyways, he was killed via voter fraud. He was killed by cooping. He died.
Crazy.
Beaten to a pulp outside of a polling location in Baltimore on election day.
Beaten by Antifa, by the way.
Wait.
Shaden X. He had a time machine.
You're saying Edgar Allan Poe.
He threw a milkshake at his head first.
Wait, let me just make sure I understand this correctly. You said Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, the poet.
Who lived in, who was pretty much like Mr. Baltimore before I think he lived in Philly for a little while too. You're saying he was, you read that by me again? He was actually,
I didn't know this.
He was found beaten to death outside of a polling location on election day. That is how.
Oh my God!
And that process is called cooping. But he's the most famous victim
of cooping.
Holy shit!
And then so eventually they're like, that's a lot of calories to burn to get one vote. We're gonna streamline this process. Back then, actually, was the pinnacle of voter integrity, the glass ballot box, and it was actually not for the voters, but it was to make sure that to watch the election officials to make sure they weren't stuffing ballots in there.
Oh wow!
And we really haven't got to that level of election integrity. Sadly, fun fact: we are wildly behind on voter ID laws. There isn't a single American state that is as secure or has strong election integrity laws like any Mexican state. So in every single Mexican state, they have more they have more protections against vote fraud than in America in terms of by law. Maybe in reality of how it's practiced, it's a little different, but at least by law, they're attempting it. They have better voter ID laws. And so and this is an issue you see across the world. India, where they don't really have indoor plumbing everywhere. They have voter ID figured out and all this other stuff, 1 billion votes. Okay, this is we are so behind. It's the only thing you can compare it to is like how we don't use the metric system. That's really like how different the rest of the world is to us. We stand alone in the way that we hold elections. So it is actually laughable when they say most secure election of all time, when in reality, it's like we don't compare to pretty much any country, especially the developed nations, but most undeveloped nations.
That's not good.
Insane.
I was going to say something. Oh, so when did Edgar Allan Poe get killed? Like, what year was that around, if you remember? Like,
I don't have
or decade.
I don't, but that was
for sure. 1860s-ish or something. Edgar Allan Poe
in that time period, and that's around the same time period that the glass ballot box.
Yeah, so he died 1849. Okay, so that's not too far away from. You ever seen Gangs of New York?
Yes, and that film gets brought up to me often when they
Boss Tweed.
Yeah, exactly. We cover Boss Tweed, we cover Tammany Hall, and the basically the political machine that controlled elections, and Tammany Hall still exists. And
yeah, it does.
It's still there.
What, the building, or like?
Yeah, you're a Tammany Hall Tiger if you are part of that organization.
Are they still? Does that organization still exist? Like, are they still kind of doing the same things or not?
Well,
not on the same scale.
They're
I'm sure they're doing it in an evolved way. Like, the Democrats are doing it.
I'm not gonna this is now speculation, but I think it definitely got transferred over into a much more a more organized form now in the film. And I've actually been on.
I would say so.
I've been on Lindell's program. He's a fine gentleman. I completely disagree with his premise of the film, because what we go over is a long history of voting machines, in particular pre-internet, being rigged. And so what people think of voting machines being rigged and that being like an internet thing, but actually you got to realize, like, back in the day, there were basic hackings, like they would stick matchsticks in so that the lever wouldn't pull properly, right? I mean, there's various ways that they would mess around with
sneaky
the non-internet machines, which were introduced in 1906 or 1909, one of those two. But we've had a long history of that. And then the election officials, those are really the hinge point. They're the ones, because they operate and run the system, they're the ones most vulnerable to really allegedly commit voter fraud. But we actually have a bunch of documented cases throughout the film, including 2 election officials in Philadelphia working in concert over 30 years to rig small-time local elections together just through hate.
Wow, that's crazy. That is.
Who do you think? Who's doing more voter fraud now? The Democrats, Republicans, or would you say?
It's a fascinating debate. It's
the last 4 years or whatever.
We have a really fun clip within the film where we show you how many politicians are being charged for crimes at the time. And it was interesting to note that it was like 14 Democrats, 4 Republicans. But I will say one of the most infamous and worst cases ever of voter fraud that was caught was a Republican, and that was a machine hacking situation in Florida. We cover it pretty extensively. So it's not that Republicans haven't been caught cheating as well. And in fact, another aspect to this is primaries are far more rigged than generals. People don't realize that. One primary, the Louisiana gubernatorial Republican primary in 1978, was insanely rigged, and the candidate spent back then $27 million on a job that paid $50,000 a year. And what people realize, a lot of that money, in again speculation, from what I've researched, this is where you need the infrastructure for like the ballot harvesting and all the other things that go into scaling up voter fraud. And so that is again, we go over specific examples in the film to prove our point, but it is a startling trend when you noticed how many election officials can determine an election by themselves. Most notably, you wouldn't have Lyndon B. Johnson as a president, vice president, or senator without rigged elections that were documented. An election official, after the statute of limitations had ran out, admitted to the fact that he alone rigged LBJ's Senate election. And that is really the only reason he became VP and then president. And so and then when you consider the fact that LBJ rose to power in the Senate through a rigged election, that was documented. And then we allege that 1960 was another a rigged election. You could say that he rose to prominence via rigged elections. It's a fascinating. It's a really fascinating.
I also heard that he recently.
Unbelievable. Wow.
I also heard he is recently blamed for killing JFK or having somebody kill him, but I don't know if that's true. But I saw some conspiracy theory or something about that.
Two main theories, essentially. Well, three. The one is the Warren Report, which Woody Allen, as a comedian, I really respect this, less than a year after the Warren Report, his next appearance on TV made fun of it, called it fiction, got a big laugh. Very brave moment in comedy. The comedians who really cowered in the 4 years of the pandemic really should think about that. But then you have the other. I am in the lane of LBJ is really the focal point of that. He is the cui bono, who benefited the most. It was LBJ. And yes, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but you have to, who is the person who is most powerful under JFK who signed off on that, allegedly? So that's the theory. And then the other theory is that Israel did it. I have doubts about that historically. And I love actually hearing all the debate about it. I don't shut it down because I think that's a very damaging way to go about it. But frankly, I've actually covered I have a long stream actually on why I don't think it was Israel, but it was LBJ. But there's a lot of really dastardly things with LBJ and Israel. So it's not completely ridiculous. It's that timing is off.
Yeah, I'm definitely a proponent of the Queef Boner proposal about LBJ, but we should go into
before we do anything.
Yeah,
I want to give people a little bit of an idea as to what type of comedy you do. You think this is going to be? You think this is going? Have you seen this video yet, Nose?
Which one are we talking about?
The one that the one that he sent.
The one that I sent you.
Yeah, the rap battle.
Roast battle, right?
Yeah, roast battle.
Really quick, YouTube recently took down like almost all of my stand-up.
No.
I was
looking for it. Yeah,
that was all I had. But I have it on Twitter. It's one of my best videos. So luckily. That wasn't taken down, but this is one of my. It's an old video, but it's really good. It definitely is.
Yeah, you know what? I'll share it. If we, because we ain't that big yet on YouTube. We're building, but I think we'll be fine. So let me hold on. Let me just cue this up right quick. Get this together and. Oh yeah. You'll love that background. All right, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eric Abbenante, one of his best roast battles. I love these. These are incredible. If you haven't been to one, you should definitely check it out. But here's Eric Abbenante along with let me see the other gentleman in this, so make sure I get his name correct.
David Lucas.
David Lucas, yes.
He's pretty big with Hinchcliffe now, right?
Oh yeah, he went on to massive things. Not a fat joke. He's a real big star, and
Kill Tony.
Yeah,
he's on Kill Tony a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but he's a big comedian even on his own.
Sure.
And you can go check out his YouTube. I'm very happy for his success.
Awesome. Awesome. Here we go. Let's get into this.
Hey, Okay. Hey, when I say we're ready, you guys gotta lose your fucking mind. Lose your fucking mind. Battle.
Let's go.
Yeah. Eric is a Jew.
It's right
The
into
only
it.
reason he got a black girl is because he heard you can feed an African child for 10 cents a day.
Oh.
That's good, actually. I just got it.
All right, Malcolm Chex Mix. All right.
Oh.
Yo.
Oh, shit. Get him.
David calls his daughter Boo because one day he's gonna ghost her.
Oh.
Nigga, that shit was whack as fuck, bitch. You look like an out-of-work Keebler elf.
All right. Old dirty breadstick. All right.
Yo.
Damn.
Hold on.
Oh,
Old dirty
shit.
breadstick, Eric.
It's an old dirty bastard reference for
No, I know what
we
it was.
know this. We're from the New York area.
Yeah, bro. That is wow. That was good. So hold on a second before we go any further. Is it like these roast battles? Is it like you have to think of shit on the fly to say? Like I've never.
No, you prepare. Like you're given. Like at this time, the roast battles were booked out for months, right? So the process is you meet up, you provide as much information as possible to make it a fun thing. He didn't tell me anything. He actually has a lot of very interesting things I didn't know about. He went to UCLA. He didn't tell me that, and I couldn't figure. He hid these things from me essentially to make my life harder. His parents are like bankers, which is fascinating. Or something like that. There's a lot of like interesting things, right? And he gave me nothing, so all I could do is go on his appearance. Right. So it does sound like I didn't really prepare, but essentially the estimation was if you watch David Lucas, he's one of the best roasters because roast battle, most of people they approach it like the British approached fighting, where it's like, your turn, now your turn. And then he's like a guerrilla style dozens roaster where he doesn't play. Yeah. So in roast battle, it's my turn. Your turn, my turn. What he does is he'll get jokes on top of jokes. And so he'll throw in like a nickname and then he'll like do a little like a little joke and then he'll do a thing on top of the joke. So my whole strategy was like, okay, I actually have to go at him with the nicknames and little jokes in between to kind of throw him off his game. And then
you had a fat shame.
So you're saying so wait a second. Yeah. So wait a second. So when you say it's like the Queen of England battle, right? Like where you go and so is it like so would it go something like this where one guy's like, your mother is so fat. The bitch needs a Thomas guy to find her asshole. Well, is it something like that? Like,
you mean like the shooting, the British, where they shoot and then the other side shoots? Is that what you're talking about back in the day?
Historically,
like the redcoats,
they were not very creative on how they approached it. So, I will do my joke, you do your joke. He was very innovative in his approach by saying, "No, I'm gonna sneak in extra jokes here." And honestly, it was super. It was wildly effective. He was like Mike Tyson of roast battle. And this battle was this was a pretty interesting battle in how it turned out because no one expected me to win.
Don't say yet.
I'm just saying.
Don't say yet.
I'm just saying I'm the underdog in this context by a wild margin. I'm Appalachian State. He's Michigan.
Appalachian State. Huh.
Thank you, honey. I shrunk a Jew.
That's not bad.
You're welcome. A Tribe Called Chicken Breast.
Motherfucker, you look like a hipster leprechaun. You dirty than a mother.
Hold up. you know, Eric, you kind of do.
A hamster leprechaun?
No, a hipster leprechaun. You do.
Oh, I thought he said a
like
hamster
one.
leprechaun. So
He said hipster. No, he said hipster.
hipster leprechaun. Yeah, okay, maybe.
You know, he is. I respected him as much as any roaster that I have ever met. I didn't get to go against like some of the biggies, but he really is as legendary as any of the roasters in there, and he translates. Like a lot of the roast battlers, like they only work in that very specific setting. You can take David Lucas anywhere. He's hilarious, and I really respect that about him.
Wow. Here we go. Here's some more of it.
Motherfucker.
Keep going.
David, looking at you, I can't tell what's been arrested more, you or your heart.
Oh shit. Okay. Got him.
Appreciate that, hipster Chucky. We all know Eric is the bitch in his relationship. His girl make him scream out nigga when they fuck.
All these guys dancing and popping in the background. Popping and locking.
American.
Hey, that's what it looked like this nigga been doing all day in them raggedy ass pants taking a knee.
Hey, you know what David just did there? He broke the fourth wall. But usually when he does that, he goes, "Oh yeah!"
It's the Kool-Aid.
Oh my goodness gracious! Bro, you were returning fire. I have to admit it. This is really good. You did pretty well on your feet. Oh, there's more.
Kool-Aid reference, y'all like.
No. Keep it going. David Lucas.
Get the fuck out of the street, bro.
Definitely the best battle of the night. Give it up for these guys.
Is that Jeffrey Ross?
Wait, was that's Jeffrey Ross in the background? No,
Jeff Ross, right?
Yeah, he's one of the judges, and
he's great.
Okay.
He's great on the old roast.
Oh, he was awesome. He was awesome.
Actually, Eric? Did you see his Netflix roast thing they did?
I've seen
New Year's.
I haven't seen the most recent one. I've seen clips of Nikki Glazer like crushing it.
No, it was. I mean, I don't know if it's the same one. It's the one where they like did a year in review. They roasted 2024. I think it was. Is basically what they called it.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
And
no,
it was Mark Norman, and I just saw him in Stanford. Who's Mark Norman's boy in this podcast? I'm blanking his name.
I'm not. But
Sure.
yeah, there's a lot,
Okay, I'll think about it.
a lot of like people who were roast battlers who went on right for a lot of those roasts. So that's pretty cool how that worked out.
But yeah, it was on Netflix. It was good.
There's a New York version of this too, and actually they're even more well organized than the LA version.
I'm trying to remember because I think a friend of mine who's also a comedian. I think she's done roast battle with Jeff Ross. If I'm not mistaken, I think she has. Tell me if you know this name, Yamaneika Saunders.
I was gonna say, was it Yamaneika Saunders? Yeah,
it was.
She was on the show. Yeah, so she was very good.
Yeah, shout to, you know what, Yamaneika Saunders. Yamaneika, I've known her since about 2017. I want to say 2018. One of the absolute funniest comedians, man or woman, that I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
has me rolling, like absolutely rolling. I haven't spoken to her in a little bit, but I love her. She did. Side note: we actually play Fortnite. She has kept my Fortnite addiction going. She goes on there. So, but yeah. So let's finish this up because like I'm shocked at this. You got to see this, y'all.
Yes, we got to keep going, man.
I mean, all right.
We got to keep going.
I just heard a fucking Kool-Aid joke. I don't think we can keep going.
We got to, man. It's too close.
This is too close? This show racist. You're right. Thank you, all nigga way. All right, you want one more? You went first. You're first this time. Overtime, let's go.
David, You look like Ice Cube if he messed around and ate a triple-double.
Oh.
Today's a good day.
I appreciate that you cracked out Bilbo Baggins.
Check the feet. Check the feet.
You look like Robert E. Lee fucked the Hobbit.
Oh my
Why
God.
Robert E.
One
Lee?
less joke.
All right, that'll do it. Keep it going. Eric, Abbenante, David Lucas. It's great work, you two. Coach T.
All right, it's a perfect
quick.
example of, David, you had it. You fucking were killing it. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. It matters that you both killed. So you got to leave the audience wanting more. Calling for your own overtime is ridiculous. But that having been said, I still think both of you are fucking hilarious. You had good chemistry. Like your timing back and forth with the quick jokes was so funny to watch. So very
Shout to
entertaining.
Jeff Ross.
David
Shout to
and
Jeff Ross.
what's his face?
I clearly made an impression on Jeff.
What's his face?
Periscope, who we liking this one?
Gotta love that.
That was fun. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
That was very clever, and y'all make me feel stupid, but y'all were good.
Jessime Peluso.
What'd you say?
That's Jessime Peluso. I'm trying to remember all the people on the panel.
Okay. All right.
She was on. She's been
I'm
on.
gonna say, what's your name again?
Dave.
David. Yeah.
Oh
Sorry,
shit.
Jew.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that was
at
so
this point,
fucking
and
good.
Jew
I mean,
and
you come
what's
out
his
and
face?
just call him a Jew, which love the simplicity of that, and then
Hell yeah.
Wow.
and then you with the Kool-Aid joke. It was so good, but you said I look like teacher porn, so I have to go with you because you gave me a
Damn.
compliment.
Teacher porn gets it.
I thought that was
Great.
Wow. Teacher porn, bro.
He made a joke about her in his like walk up. He was smooth with like joking with the judges. I'll give him credit. He has great stage presence.
Schmoozing with the judges, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Get you
was
far.
Yeah, he definitely had me in that category.
Here we go.
Oh. CP.
Jeez, man, Brian, Harvey Weinstein's really turned all these ladies against the Jews, huh?
Oh no.
The Hinchcliffe?
Too soon? All right.
That is Hinchcliffe.
Yeah,
that
that
sounds
was
like
a really cool thing because like every time you'd hit him hard, he'd come around with some name, and then it turned kind of into the name thing.
How many
Like
goddamn
that
judges are
first
there?
round, it just devolved into names, and then the set,
They have,
then
like,
it got
Congress
better.
here.
But
Is it a fucking Supreme Court? How many goddamn?
just because of the last one, I got to give it to the Jew.
Oh my God.
You don't like this, Justin. You
Zero.
didn't like this. Who did you like in this one?
Here we go.
I wanted to go with the black guy with no arms.
Really?
Wow. Funny. He was good.
I
Good
remember
battle.
David hated that.
Healthy.
Before we ask the audience, who did you like in this one?
What's your name again? Eric. I keep spacing out. I'm a little jet lagged.
Yeah.
It was a
Oh, I
really
killed
tough
it.
one. I thought in the end, fuck. I don't know. I thought it was pretty even. If you would have scored, it was almost perfect till the last round, and then I thought you both fucking clunked it. So,
I mean,
Oh boy. Well,
Well,
here
who
comes-
won?
Well, okay, really quick.
Are they gonna say at the end or no, Eric?
When it's 3 jokes, like the format, the audience decides. When it's anything more, it's the judges. So at this point, and then to be fair to David, if it was more joke format, I would have lost because the judges said he won.
But here we go.
that's a tough one. I let the audience decide.
let's see what the audience does. Hey, audience, do you like David Lucas?
Come on, vote.
Eric Abbenante?
No, sounds
Yo,
like
winner,
audience
Eric Abbenante!
Yeah, I
Look
agree.
at that.
You beat David Lucas, man, the king of roasting.
Beat David Lucas.
Everybody,
Yeah, well,
Rogan says that all the time. Rogan says he's like the best roaster. Him and Hinchcliffe.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but he won the war.
Yeah. Well, the war's not
You know,
over.
it's still going. But he really was.
Well, you won that one, I think, for sure. I think you were funnier.
No, no shame. It stopped him from doing absolutely nothing. There was actually some rumor that I stopped him from getting on the roast battle show. I don't know if that's true, but supposedly that was
stopped him.
Yeah, supposedly this was supposed to be the battle to set him up, and then he was going to be on the roast battle TV show.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, I was told that it could be a complete.
Nah, that doesn't mean shit. Now he's huge on Kill Tony.
Doing anything, so I don't,
Nah, that's not good.
He's
Does he have beef with you for that? Do they think that?
God, no, he's actually like a total gentleman. And really the funniest people, they're the ones with the least drama. It's the ones who are like
not really funny.
They're hacks. They're the ones who are like, oh, I hate this guy, and
they're envious and like, wow, I'm funnier than he is.
He's a total gentleman. I have nothing but nice
good. That's a lot of Jew jokes, man. So speaking of Jews, I don't know if you saw my thing today, but maybe we should talk about that right now, Isaiah.
I would love to.
I would love to as well.
We don't have to go into like I don't have to talk about. I basically put a post.
I'm bringing it up.
You want to bring it up?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up.
So
go ahead.
I'll introduce it though while you bring it up. That basically I just did like a post on my thoughts on the Dave Smith Douglas Murray debate on Rogan. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, Eric.
Yeah, that's been in the news.
It'd be good to we could talk about it live right now too. What you think, what Isaiah thinks.
Yeah, I'm actually still looking for it in just a second. Hold on 1 second.
Come on, man, it's my big moment.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna bring up your
that's cool. What'd you think about? What were your initial thoughts, Eric?
So for the audience,
and if you say the wrong answer, I'm gonna call you, a couple different slurs or
absolutely
accusations. So better be the right answer.
Absolutely. So for context for the audience who don't know about this, so Douglas Murray, who's British, he's very good on a lot of things. He debated with Dave Smith, who's a comedian, kind of like me, where he's a comedian, but he also talks about stuff like politics. He's by the way, Dave Smith, I really admire. We may disagree on a ton of stuff, but I just love that there's another guy doing something similar. So
he's very smart. He's seems pretty well informed. Like I don't double check all those facts, but he rattles them off his head. He seems he knows what he's talking about.
I'm one of those people too. I don't need to disagree with you to really enjoy your work. But anyway, so Douglas Murray and Dave Smith were debating about essentially Israel, right?
Yeah, they spent the first part of the show, like Jesus. Douglas Murray spent like the first, I feel like 30, 40 minutes, maybe it was 20 minutes, but it felt like that long, grilling Rogan basically about like how he's having people on.
And essentially saying you cannot argue about something unless you have this, you have the credentials, you have expertise. It is the credentialism argument. And,
appeal to authority, all that. Yeah,
gatekeeper. We have American History of Voter Fraud. We have World Death Organization, which is a history of eugenics, and it goes into World War II a lot. And then we have trial of Anthony Fauci. And long story short, we are doing a version of looking through history and trying to retell it, saying, hey, these are portions of history that you overlooked, or history was written by the winners and it was, glossed over. And so I love anyone discussing history and debating it. And so I was a little disappointed with Douglas Murray shutting down the debate when by using this ad hominem thing of you are not an expert, therefore your opinions are invalid. Because in the end, all these things, like, I'm Jewish, but I talk to all the anti-Semites who don't think the Holocaust happened. And actually, you actually are bridging a lot more, a bigger gap. Like, hey, you're human, I'm a human. We may disagree about that, but at least you've had one positive experience with a Jew.
Right. Yeah.
That'll actually help you. And so if I completely disagree, obviously, on that topic, I still don't mind talking to those people. And so that's where I just think Douglas Murray's approach is wrong. Of like, I
do. I agree.
I'm still looking for it. Sorry.
Even if I was 100%
I'll send you a message.
Agreeing with Douglas Murray, in the end, I still think he on that topic, I would still say he's wrong for shutting it down, because that's not the way you win a debate or go through a debate. And that was really my issue.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's look, Joe Rogan, he's kind of like grilling Rogan, and Rogan was getting a little annoyed, but he was, he was letting him give his piece, but he's like kind of saying like, you shouldn't, because you have this huge platform, you shouldn't have people on who aren't legit historians, right? And and I get where he's coming from, because some people take information that he thinks is wrong, or characterizations or that people maybe cleverly put together, and then they run with it, and they start to hate the West, or they hate Jews, or they hate Churchill, or whatever it was, right? It's kind of some of the things he was talking about. Or they say that they're the real villain, and the Nazis were maybe the real heroes, or whatever. And I get where he's coming from, and there is a danger of that sometimes. But look, Rogan has always said, this is a show about me talking to people I'm interested in. So, that's it. So listen or don't. This is it. I never claimed to be a goddamn journalist. I never claimed to be a fact checker. Never claimed to be a historian. I'm talking to people who are interesting. So, this is it. And I guess what? I have the biggest platform on earth. So doing something right. So it's kind of like he didn't promise anything else. And then on top of that, it's like, what's the other alternative? It's like, so we just have to trust the experts. Don't we know how that went? Right? Don't we know how?
Exactly.
So it's like the experts are, a lot of times they're woke and they believe crazy shit, even though they have the most PhDs and they're the most respected and they teach at Harvard and Yale and Stanford, but they're nuts because they can't tell you what a woman is, right? Or they have moneyed interests that are, maybe somebody's paying them, some corporation's paying them, big pharma's paying them to say this, say that. Like we've seen this actually for decades. Some scientists being paid to say sugar was healthy or something like that. So it's like, clearly you can't always trust the experts. And you can't trust the journalists to do their jobs, because they're going to cover for 99% of the time, they're going to cover for Democrats and left-leaning people, because they're all progressive and they all came from woke Marxist schools and all of that. So it's like, clearly you need somebody to give a different perspective and hopefully have some facts behind it. And because otherwise these people will just push in a certain direction that's only going to help a certain amount of people.
Right.
So I don't know what Doug thinks is. I mean, he knows that for a fact too. So I think Doug Murray got a little bit emotional in a lot of this conversation.
I do too.
He's in Israel. He's seen a lot of people get killed. He's amongst the Israelis who are like, talking about what happened on October 7th. He's probably seen the videos, all that, right? And he's just like, you need to shut up because they need to do this. And I agree, actually, that they need to do a lot of that. And that's what I get to later on in the post.
Yeah,
but
before we go any further, because I want to actually show everybody the clip that one of the biggest clips that really displayed what this debate was all about. Joe Rogan and Douglas Murray and comedian Dave Smith battled it out earlier this past week. It was very brutal. It was brutal in certain places. It's obviously a very sensitive topic, what's been going on in Israel and with the whole Israel and Palestine thing. It seems like that's a generational thing where once every generation something big will happen and the entire passions of East and West get inflamed, it seems. But this is in this particular clip, we see we see a lot of the differences that we've been fighting, a lot of what you guys were talking about before, where expertise versus versus layman's interests. Okay, so here's the first clip of Douglas Murray going after Dave Smith. I think it's insightful to say the least. So here we go.
I've been plenty with no debt.
Don't know why the audio is so bad, but let's all right, here we go.
Deficit of goods coming in. I've been plenty of times.
There is no deficit?
No, there are
no
plenty
goods were kept out.
There are plenty. How many have you been to the crossing points?
No.
When were you last there at all?
I've never been.
You've never been.
Well, am I not allowed to talk about it now? Have you ever been to Nazi Germany? Are you allowed to have feelings about them?
You can't time travel.
Well, right.
You can travel.
Okay, but so what? So what's the point?
No,
okay.
I find that
lots of people have been there and agree with me, and lots of people have been there and agree with you.
Yeah, but
so
if
I don't
you're
know
going to
what
spend a year and a half talking about a place, you should at least do the courtesy of visiting it.
All right. I just think this is a non-argument.
You don't think?
Okay. No, I think it's a non-argument.
But if you're an expert,
Well, you have to go and touch the ground.
No, I think you have to see. I think it's a good idea to see stuff, particularly if you spend a career talking about something. Yes. I have a journalistic rule of trying never to talk about a country even in passing unless I've at least been there.
Yeah, they're not journalists, by the way.
It's sort of normal.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing to do. You're talking about, hang on, you're talking about crossing points. And not only have you never been to a crossing point in either Egypt or in Israel, but you've never even been to the region.
Okay. Again, I think this is a non-argument. I don't understand.
No, it's not a non-argument.
Yeah, it is.
It's not a non-argument if you're insisting that you're an expert of some kind, or not claiming you're an expert, but still talking about it, about the provisions going into Gaza or not, if you've never seen any of this going on.
So you're not
That's
allowed to
amazing
speak
to
about
me.
things that you've read about. You can only speak about things that you've seen with your own eyes.
You can talk about what you want, as you're proving. But that is a different matter from spending an awfully long amount of time talking about an issue in a region you haven't even had the courtesy to visit, whilst developing all of these views about it. I mean, now I slightly get an idea of where you're coming from. You've read about this blockade, and so you imagine that that's what it is. I imagine you've read all the people who say that Gaza was a concentration camp, and you probably think that too. Am I right?
I mean, again, it literally a concentration camp. It shares a lot of similarities, I would think.
Wow. Well, as I say, you can't time travel
Let's
back
go
to the
back to
Nazi
the
era.
Okay. Yeah. So
well,
this is a tough one for me, because here's how I see it. Just before we get into Nose's like exquisite piece on this. Douglas Murray is is one of the most talented and one of the most insightful journalists that we have left. Okay.
Yeah, 100. I love Douglas Murray.
We're talking about
very brave too.
Yeah,
very
extremely
smart.
brave. This guy's been
ahead of the curve.
Yeah, we're talking about 20 years of experience, embedded in several wars. So we're talking about a guy who is laser focused. Like he's in the shit, basically. Okay, just to use the term, he's in it. He sees it. He's right there. Dave Smith, on the other hand, comedian, layman's, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. Layman's a lay understanding of the topic. Okay, gets his views from wherever. Okay, and he approaches it having never been to the region, never been to Israel, wherever. On the one hand, I get it. Okay, blue collar versus white collar. It's that blue collar versus white collar. Managerial versus like the guy who does the nuts and bolts work. I get that kind of setup. All right. So on the one sense, I get where Dave is coming from. And one person on X, Democracy, he said, I like Murray, but is coming across as a snob, and his book is excellent. That's probably this is probably one of those cases. And I think Nose, you alluded to this. This is more of a case of where it's not necessarily what you say, but it's how you present it. It's how it's said.
It's both. It's both in this case, I think, as well, because he's just saying stuff like that. Like, I get what he's saying. Yeah, it'd be better if anybody who wants to talk about it is there to see it for themselves. But even if you're there to see it for yourselves, doesn't mean you're going to see everything, right? That's one thing too. And by the way, I should give a disclaimer. I'm actually on Doug's side of this argument.
Same.
Yeah, but I do think in this debate, I don't think Doug Murray looked so great because he was kind of doing a lot of appeal, like different logical fallacies, like appeal to authority and straw manning, quite a bit of straw manning, quite a bit of semantics, and kind of trying to exhaust Dave, which I talk about. But but I don't think so there's a little bit of both. There's how you say it, how you come across, which obviously he didn't come across great for a lot of people, but also some of the things he was saying was just not really good reasoning, I think, even though in the end, I think he did have some good reasoning in some parts for sure.
A lot of it is, it seems to be an inversion of all of the stuff that we've dealt with over the last 4 years. Okay. Where leftists were the ones who were the snobs who didn't know, who came off condescending, nasty, rude, deplatforming. And that was the other big thing about this whole debate, which I guess we'll talk about a little bit more, where Murray was kind of chiding Joe Rogan in the beginning about having guys like Dave Smith who are I guess very much anti-Israel. I guess that's a polite way of putting it.
He's Jewish too, by the way. And I think he's just really bleeding hard about it, which, he brings up a great point that, like, there's a lot of Palestinians getting killed. Some of them are women and children, but and that's obviously a big moral dilemma, right? And that's not great. Those kids are dying and women and children are dying and innocent men and stuff. So he's totally right about that. But I still think at the end of the day, it's something Israel needs to do because, these people launch missiles at them all the time and they pull off the attack. And it's like the Hamas is responsible for it because they're the ones like hiding in hospitals.
I do appreciate the anti-Israel position as long as it's isolationist, like Thomas Massey, for instance, by saying, like, why are we giving the money to Israel? Why are they saying our
good questions?
Why is AIPAC not a foreign agent? Those are all very fair questions. Those are not anti-Semitic questions to ask. And so I totally hear that side of the argument, but then I point to the other side where, you hear the Nick Fuenteses of the world talk about the Greater Israel plan. And I would retort by saying, well, actually, the Muslim world took over half of Africa. So when you talk about the Greater Israel versus Greater Islam, there actually could be, you could make an argument that actually and I'm not saying this, but, when you hear the Jews control the world, well, you could flip that and be like, well, the Muslims control the world. They control all these British soccer teams. They control Live, right? So you go.
I'm surprised you brought that up. Go ahead.
You could do that with the Catholics. My family is part Catholic, right? And you could do that with them. The Irish Catholics have a very entrenched history in this nation of controlled power. And so you could do this with any group, really. But if you care about that group or you just understand history, you understand it's actually a little more nuanced than that. And it's like an easy question. Like, for instance, when these people like the Dave Smiths of the world, when they talk about USS Liberty, they never bring up Operation Cyanide, which means we actually planned that with Israel. So it's even scarier than you think.
Yeah. And I think that was some of the things that Murray was trying to caution, let's say, caution Rogan about platforming. It's like you don't want, there are just certain things that are flat out untrue, and you're allowing people to present them as true without any kind of, hold on a sec, or far be it from me to use this term, but it fits in this context, without some type of fact checking. Okay. There is a need for that. Okay. There is a need for truth. Okay. And there is a need for truth to be objective. I think the biggest issue that has been learned over the last 4 years is that no one likes no one likes a referee. Okay, no one's a fan of a referee. And frankly, when it comes to someone presenting opposing views and letting the public decide, the judges, the public, that's one thing. But no one likes when let's say the federal government, the government, when they take or social media companies, when they take it upon themselves to be the arbiters of truth, because when you get, as was proven throughout the last 4 years of the previous administration, once you start placing governments and bodies and stuff like that as your official arbiters of truth, all someone has to do is flood that particular institution with their people, and the truth becomes whatever they say. And I think that's I think that's really I at least I hope that's what, I would love to talk to Douglas Murray to actually see what exactly he what he was hoping to accomplish. I do think that there was a bit of there was an era of condescension to Dave Smith, I'd say.
Yeah.
But when you really listen to some of Smith's views, especially, like I said, about Israel, you kind of get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, I get why he's talking to him like that. At least to me. I don't know what you guys would say about that. But Nos actually did say something really good, and I want to read this because this guy is coming up with some. This guy comes up with some really nice takes. I would say they're spicy, but they're very nuanced. Like, people will be like, "Oh, he's got a hot take." No. This is a hot, wholesome take that you would get from a diner. Okay,
it won't mess up your stomach.
Like a churro fresh out the grease, right? Churro fresh out the grease. Yeah. So he wrote this earlier today. My boy Nos here. Follow at Nostra Chavez. My Douglas Murray versus Dave Smith review. Who looked better? Smith. Whose position is more right on Israel versus Palestine? Murray. Why? Murray looked worse because he started with this elitist, seemingly anti-free speech point of view that unless you're an expert, you shouldn't talk in front of large audiences. This is obviously wrong because, one, as we talked about, the experts are too often wrong, warped by woke or other ideology, and or corrupted by moneyed interests or other corrupting incentives. So sometimes we need non-experts, including honest commentators, to be able to tell the truth when the experts won't, and to counterbalance the clear corruption and ideological bias of the legacy media. 2, in a free country, people should be able to talk about what they want to whoever they want, and people can listen or not if they want. I think Doug Murray's more European, friendlier disposition towards censorship, as well as his deep emotional connection to Israel's cause, has led him to this illiberal point of view. Furthermore, Murray also did engage in a lot of logical fallacies. For example, appeals to authority, straw manning, as well as some evasion and seemingly wanting to exhaust Dave Smith with the straw manning detours and semantic games. That said, Murray is a very brilliant man, a very brave and important thinker. He did make some good points, and I think overall he's right on Israel. Why Murray is right on Israel? While Dave Smith is right that killing of women and children is a very bad thing, almost all of the responsibility for their deaths and suffering fall on Hamas. Well, I actually like how Douglas says it, by Hamas and the Palestinians and Iranians supporting them. Hamas did all of this themselves on October 7th. They started this war with brutal rape, mass rape and murder, and worse, of over 1,000 innocent civilians. They are keeping hostages still. They are intentionally putting their own civilians, including the women and children we talk about, in harm's way to score PR points by hiding in hospitals, schools, etc., and storing weapons there. We cannot allow terrorist groups and governments like Hamas to get away with atrocities and then hide behind their civilians as an excuse to avoid retaliation and justice. Therefore, Hamas and the Palestinians, who put their own people at harm all along the way and continue to, are committed, I repeat again, committed to the death and exile of all Jews in Israel. Well, really, it's wider than that. Deserve almost all of the responsibility for this onslaught on their people. Finally, the constant launching of missiles, terrorist attacks, invasions, etc., into Israel over the last 80 years or so, as well as, again, the mission statement to kill all the Israeli Jews or to drive them out of Israel, also doesn't much help Palestinians gain moral high ground. Unless you're a communist who believes in decolonization, but we'll get into that too. I think this is a clear case of FAFO. For the audience who doesn't know what that is by now, fuck around and find out. And the men of Hamas and Palestine not fulfilling their primary duty as men to protect their women and children. As you can see, they are unforgivably doing the opposite, using them as human shields and sacrificial lambs in their doomed intifada instead. Hell of a job, sir.
Thank you. I felt inspired the other day.
Hell of a job.
After finishing that podcast.
Eric, your thoughts, brother?
Oh, I loved it, Chavez. Even if I disagreed on like little portions or anything, I would be like, wow, that was so thoughtful and you were very fair and reasonable. I loved it. So, so for me, I try to be as balanced as possible on this because I have friends on both sides who are like rabidly, that way. And so the base definition of Zionism is like, do you believe Israel should exist? Yes, I do believe that. So, but I also understand the other side of people being upset about it and saying that they have gone too far with their power. But ultimately, I think it's an unfair one-sided conversation because one side has actively tried to negotiate the two-state solution, and then one side has always been non-negotiable in that aspect. And so I find it harder to sympathize with one side than the other. So Yasser Arafat, I have a clip somewhere where he's talking about essentially he could never take any deal but 100%, meaning kind of like that river to the sea thing of like, we get it all. And basically saying like, we're not ever negotiable. And that's an issue for like Bill Clinton. I have another clip. I have a clip of him where he's teary-eyed talking about how really Yasser Arafat was the reason there wasn't a two-state solution. There wasn't peace. So the Palestinian leaders have been honestly far more objectionable than even Netanyahu, because Ahmed Yassin has also been a pretty bad faith actor historically. And so I find it tough on both sides because, again, when they talk about the women and children stuff, obviously that's always terrible. But this is also a culture that conscripts children into the army as young as 11.
Yep.
So if you don't criticize the culture that uses child soldiers, then it's hard for me to also equally be like, oh, the women and children, because in the end, a lot of the women and children are secretly conscripted into the army. And we also need to criticize that aspect of the culture. I guess one last thing is like, look at how the Palestinians have treated their neighbors. So under the rule of Yasser Arafat, they tried to invade Jordan. And then the king of Jordan kicked their ass out in the 1970s. Then they tried to invade Syria and Lebanon. And then there was a lot of just a lot of fighting in Lebanon throughout the 80s because of the PLO. So all the Arab neighbors, they don't really feel allied to the Palestinians for a reason, because they burned every bridge. So again, I feel bad for the people involved who are abused by these corrupt people at the top, certainly, but the leadership who I am more disappointed by is clearly the Palestinian leadership, even over the times when I'm very disappointed with Netanyahu and the Israelis.
Let me give you let me just say this, okay? Because I've had a lot of people in my circle who, like, I see a lot of the arguments for Palestine, and there are three things that bother me the most. The first thing is when it comes to the culture. People will excuse the culture. People will immediately excuse the culture because of the color of the skin of the combatants.
Yep.
Israelis are the whites, and they immediately see the Palestinians because they're brown.
Oppressed brown people.
It automatically is, oh, well, if you're brown, you are automatically oppressed.
It's true. That's how the woke view it.
It disgusts me, and I'll get back to that. I'll get back to the woke angle about it. But when you think about it, again, you've got these people who look at it purely from a skin color perspective and completely ignore the fact that on October 7th of 2023, Hamas went in and slaughtered over 1,000 young men and women at that concert and took out another near 500 people in the little villages in the south of Israel surrounding where the concert took place.
Kibbutzim.
The kibbutzim, right? Yeah, the kibbutzim. Yes, I can't pronounce it. Yeah. My Yiddish is terrible.
You got it right.
Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Kibbutzim.
I'll leave it up to the audience to decide, but one of you got it right.
well, my Hebrew is off, and
my Hebrew is really good, actually. But
yours is no fucking way.
You just saw a glimpse into the confidence levels, by the way.
No, well, Hebrew is one language I have not studied. It's like
I'm an Israeli operative and chill, but go ahead.
Oh my God.
Check his early life section.
Yes.
Check
my early life, man.
Eric, this is why he gets muted at the beginning of every show. Because he'll do some wacky shit, like start singing when the 30-second intro comes on. This guy can't be trusted.
I wish I came early today so you could have heard my beautiful voice.
Oh my God.
Fighting like a married couple.
Yeah,
the show is off the rails.
We've been
I
love this guy.
So we're talking. I love you too, Chad.
Thank you.
Anyways, so
the love is there.
You've got
love is there, still there.
So we're talking about
all these years.
So we're talking about nearly 1,500 people who had their lives either turned upside down or were ended completely in some of the most brutal, barbaric ways. I know people who have gone to watch the video that was taken by the Israeli army, okay, and it was so, like, everybody came out of that video. The ones that I know, they came out of it like emotionally and mentally scarred because they did things. Hamas did things to these people that would be considered unspeakable, even to this day. Okay, so I'm already because these people slaughtered innocents, they shed innocent blood, I'm already at that point, like, if you want to say I'm pro-Israel, I'm already pro-Israel at that point. You went in and killed people who were minding their own business. But you didn't stop there.
No.
The Western leftists and weak ass liberals thought that, oh, well, if I have to make a stand. I'm going to stand not only with the brown people, but then I'm going to also stand with the Muslims. The leftists, the flat out communists, decided we're going to go the full decolonial route, the decolonization route, because communists can't help themselves. Okay, communists are always going to side with whatever advances their revolution. The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution, which is how you had Black Lives Matter chapters celebrating like glory to the decolonizers. You had these wacky teachers who were saying decolonize your mind, decolonize your perceptions, and just decolonize everything. Like, these are some of the most despicable people. All of the Western left decided we are going to go all in for Palestine right then and there. That became the cause celeb. Again, doing what Douglas Murray was actually cautioning against. People who have never been to Palestine, know absolutely nothing about the culture, know nothing about the people, know nothing about the barbarism, the historical barbarism that the PLO and Hamas always, absolutely nothing. But yet every single college kid, every single affluent white female leftist on college campuses decided this was going to be their cause celeb. So that's where you see all the cafes on college campuses. And now here's where I'm really going to get into.
And it's all because, by the way, it's real quick. It's all because they believe, and they've been taught in Columbia and all these different Ivy League schools, white people bad, brown people good.
White people bad, brown people good.
Bad, Jews white.
That is the extent of the argument.
Like, that's most of what's going on here. And besides, I'm sure the Palestinian students have their own reasons, and maybe some Muslim students, but the white girls and the white American Ivy League kids, leftists, that's basically what they see. That's how bad it is.
I want to share one thing real quick, Eric. One quick. I see you have something you want to say, but I want to share this real quick. Historically speaking, we have absolutely no American has any business standing for this for any reason, okay? Because a lot of people don't know, but the very existence of Palestine is because of the Soviet Union back in the 1960s and 70s. And it was, yes, I am openly saying that Gaza and Palestine, whatever you want to call it, is an openly communist or entity. Why would I say that? Because I wasn't the one who said it. Allow me to present Zuhair Hussein, who was a leader with the PLO, who gave a quote back in 1977 to a Dutch paper called Trouw. And he says, quote, "The Palestinian people does not exist. The creation of a Palestinian state is only a means for continuing our struggle against the state of Israel for our Arab unity. In reality, today, there is no difference between Jordanians, Palestinians, Syrians, and Lebanese." Pay attention to this next part, ladies and gentlemen. "Only for political and tactical reasons do we speak today about the existence of a Palestinian people, since Arab national interests demand that we posit the existence of a distinct Palestinian people to oppose Zionism."
Wow.
And then they killed his fucking ass in France about 2 days later.
Wow.
Dead serious. That's real. Look that up.
Receipts. That was fun.
They killed him, and he actually got picked off in Caen in the south of France. How about that?
That's pretty damning, man. If that's true, I mean, I know he said that, and he is what you said he is. If that's the case, like
when I read this piece, it was from
how many people had to die for that? Like, how many people had to die for them to have this like little tactical Arab opposition to Zionism, which is what? Them just taking that little strip of land, the Jews taking that little strip of land and just making it their country. Like, what? Really, that many people had to die over this shit? Which, by the way, if you want to talk about colonialism, didn't the Jews live there like fucking 3,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago or many times in their history and get driven out and come back? Wasn't that like basically their freaking native land? So they're the indigenous people there.
Exactly. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, well, if you're translating what he is saying, what he is essentially saying is that the Palestinians are used in a proxy war against the Israelis, and they are just either representative. If you know the Arab world well, it's the Saudi Arabian and the Iranian power struggle. Essentially, they are running vast amounts of proxy wars against each other, and it goes back and forth. And it's really sad, quite frankly, that these that there are these pawns in this large game, and it's very sad. I do want to make this point. On October 7th, I hear this a lot. October 7th was, it was like a false flag operation. I hear that a lot, and they said it couldn't possibly be inept like that. Well, you saw in California with the wildfires that actually ineptitude, it's hard for you to underestimate ineptitude because these things can actually happen a lot. And with October 7th, there was a brilliant documentary done not only a couple months after on Frontline, how the IDF was complaining about, we have this surveillance system like with balloons and it's obsolete and we're having trouble monitoring and scanning people. And that actually was probably the more honest answer of why the response took so long on October 7th. Because I hear that a lot from people. Why did it take so long? Well, actually, you saw it with California. Why did California wildfires take so long? Was it because of a grand conspiracy, or was it unfortunately because of ineptitude?
Well, I heard it wasn't on a holiday when this happened too.
Yeah, so there were some timing aspects to it as well. But let's be honest, if you're the military, you should be ready on those.
Somebody should be ready. Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes back to ineptitude. But it is one of those. It is a important thing to point out because I hear that all the time, and then no one ever mentioned that with California of like, oh yeah, it's unfortunately you can have a large portion of your state burned down, and then it's not a grand conspiracy except for the grand conspiracy of electing idiots.
I hear what you're saying, and my issue is this. I am a fierce. Well, is fierce an understatement? I don't know. I hate communists.
No, it's not.
I hate communists. I despise communism. I despise Marxism in all its forms. And once you really get into all of the connections, like I said, with that the PLO had with the Soviet Union back in the 60s and 70s, when you put that cowboy shit away,
like to trigger you and throw you off your game.
Damn it! Let the Cowboys throw you off your rant, man. Come on, Isaiah.
Oh,
Dak Prescott's the greatest.
Oh. And getting his ankle turned backwards.
In the regular season.
In the regular week 5.
I don't even think about it.
Oh, that was brutal. The issue that I have with this whole entire movement is the ties in which the ancient ties of communists with Muslim extremists, the Red-Green Alliance of the 20th century. And we're seeing a new red-green alliance with Muslims and radical leftists, your Marxists and communists all over the world. Okay, especially here in the United States. When Hamas's leadership said to globalize the Intifada, that was the bat signal to every single fucking college campus and university. It seemed like the Ivies immediately activated. Here in New York City, there seems to be a free Palestine march every 2-3 days.
Ugh, kind of drives me nuts, that goddamn speech or like a rant what's the word? Chant they do.
Yeah. There is
free Palestine.
Yeah, and they have the little Froshezine drums in the background. Boo, boo, free. These people kept.
Good Lord.
These people held Grand Central Terminal hostage. Matter of fact, it was Friday. This past Friday, held Grand Central Terminal hostage for hours. People couldn't get home. Because that's where the Metro North and now the Long Island Railroad has a terminal there. So
I wish that Chitauri attacked New York that day. So some Avengers trivia for you guys.
It angers me because there are so many of these groups. You've got Linda Sarsour, you've got Within Our Lifetime, Neville Roy Singham, who is one of the big money people behind all of this stuff. We are seeing the red-green alliance for the 21st century, except here in the United States where it's the blue-green alliance. Okay. This is the most dangerous, to see what these people are actively supporting. They excuse the barbarism, they excuse the violence and the nastiness, and they think that, oh well, if we just chant a lot, then it's going to end war. That's one of the most insulting things about communists to begin with. They think, well, if we just criticize everything, we'll just change the world, and if not, we'll just unalive them if they don't do what we say.
They do more than that too. Didn't they destroy Hamilton Hall in Columbia or something like that?
Yeah, they did a whole bunch of shit.
Other things.
And like I said, they had to be every other day they're on a bridge. They're at Times Square. Every weekend they're at Times Square. And then as soon as they're done at Times Square, they usually go down to the fucking Tesla dealership. The same people. Dead serious. You've got
draw swastikas.
Yeah, draw swastikas on Cybertrucks and all sorts of dumb shit. And they're the same people. They're actually doing geolocator shit, and they're finding that the same people who were just at a free Palestine march at Grand Central on Friday are in front of your Tesla dealership in Brooklyn. Calling Elon Musk a fucking Nazi.
So you're saying George Soros has them working double shifts?
Soros and whoever, the Neville Roy Singham and whoever's the money behind Linda Sarsour and all these other groups. This is stuff that we could go into the weeds with for another. That could be another podcast. I actually have a friend of mine who's been tracking this stuff, and I want to bring him on. One day soon. But the issue is, this free Palestine nonsense has brought out the absolute worst in people. And folk are out here and they just simply don't know what they are espousing. And they think they're just espousing it because it makes them appear to be good people. It's quite disturbing. It's quite disturbing. But yeah, no, my view on the whole Palestine thing is I'm staying out of it. Okay, meaning I'm not gonna. Meaning, you guys slaughtered 1,400 people. You really think I'm gonna give a fuck what happens if one of your cities gets turned into a parking lot because you keep hiding behind civilians and hospitals, and your tunnel networks are buried underneath of critical infrastructure where a lot of people, including women and children, would get bombed out? No.
Yeah.
Nope. Good. God bless and good luck.
I also don't know what's the alternative. That's the other thing. I don't know if Eric or Isaiah, you want to answer that, but it's what else are they supposed to do when they have these hostages still? They just let them keep the hostages? Like
Eric?
It is
I don't know.
funny. I have said on previous podcasts, far before Trump said this, I had said the Jordan move them to the Jordan thing because technically Jordan is considered the first Palestinian state. So it would actually
makes sense.
It would make the most sense. And then Egypt don't want them, and no one else.
Does Jordan want them?
So that's the issue, is they tried to invade in 1970, and the King of Jordan had to push them out. And so they're still a little touchy about that. And they've even taken in it's either 1 million or 2 million, like Palestine. They've taken in a fair amount of Palestinian refugees already, Jordan has, and they didn't like the experience. Let's put it that way.
Who didn't like the experience? The Palestinians or the Jordanians?
The Jordanians did not like the experience of bringing in these. They described them as kind of welfare babies, essentially. They weren't like the most productive members of society that you could bring in. Kind of the same conversation we have about, like, hey, there's a type of immigrant you can bring in, but these refugees they just found were not very productive in their society. So these are Jordanians, looking at the people that they're supposed to see as brethren, but there are deep issues that go back to, hey, you tried to invade us.
Yeah, and like one thing you might be able to do, and with that option, is like maybe just ship them all out to Jordan, and then maybe Israel pays Jordan to take care of them, partly pays them, or the UN helps pay them.
The counter to that is Iran or Saudi Arabia, the people who are actually funding this proxy war. Maybe they should take care of this.
Yeah, I agree.
They're the ones who have actually, they've been funding it secretly, all these other places. So
combined, there's plenty of money in that Middle Eastern area, the Arabian Peninsula and everything, Iran. So maybe they contribute a big part of it. Israel contributes a big part of it. Maybe the UN, if everybody cares so much about this, and we could just be fucking done with this shit. Because I'm tired of hearing about this. I've been hearing about this since I was a little kid.
Yeah, and in the end,
fucking God.
Like I had said earlier, one side has been very non-negotiable. The other side has offered 3 separate deals in the 20th century, 3 separate deals in the 21st century. So it's just like, it's a very uneven conversation in that way. But again, I do agree. I feel bad for the people who are being abused by these corrupt billionaires, who are hanging out in Qatar and are really controlling everything. I do feel bad for the pawn.
They're all the most of Hamas's leadership has been neutralized. So
long may that continue.
Don't check right now.
What's that?
Don't check your pager.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, look, people need to deal with the consequences, and it sucks for the kids and the women and innocent men. But I know a lot of these people voted for them to come in as well. That voted for Hamas. I mean, you just can't do shit like this to your neighbor and expect to be like, oh, well, they're hiding in a hospital, so I guess we'll leave them alone. It's like, that's not how it works. Imagine if they did that to us. Imagine if somebody did. I mean, we freaking leveled Iraq and Afghanistan, and just because of 9/11, which is that's not but it's nothing. But Iraq would seem to have nothing to do with it now in retrospect. But it's like, this is what happens when you do shit like that. And what they did was terrible. They was shooting missiles at them all the time. Different terrorist attacks. Seems to be pretty one-sided. I'm sure Israel doesn't treat them the best sometimes and everything, but that's too much. That's too much. And you can't, if I was the president of Israel and they were doing that to my people and I had to worry about my kids getting killed all the time, I'm not going to worry about that. Like if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to make sure I don't have to worry about that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's my kids, that's my family, that's my country. If I have the means, you're not going to exist anymore for you to keep pulling this shit.
And let's be fair. Israel has killed far too many journalists. That can definitely be said. They have
Israel. What kind of journalists? From Palestine or
230 journalists. In the end, if you have if you're wearing the press thing, that should not happen. There are too many.
Interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, no, and there are. Look, it's not. I'm trying to be as fair to both sides.
I know Israel's not completely innocent.
But even when you go through and you tally up everything, I'm far more sympathetic to one side than the other. I'm going to be honest with you. But I'll even take it back to this. Like the way the Arab countries treat each other is just despicable. When Iran and Iraq got into a war this century, both sides used child soldiers. And then one side told the children who were cannon fodder, that was literally their whole reasoning. Hey, we're going to put keys around you and you're going to go to heaven with those keys. So if you are not criticizing that culture primarily, then you're missing the point. Yeah. But also, Douglas Murray, you actually can win the argument. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. He didn't. I don't know what he was thinking going in there like that and starting like that and putting them. It just he did.
That was quite wrong-footed.
Yeah, he had some good moments, like when he get down to brass tacks and talking, but just talk about the facts. But he was just, it was driving me nuts that he was like bringing up these arguments where it's like, you shouldn't even be able to talk about it unless you go there. It's like, that's ridiculous. So most people haven't been what they're where they're talking about when it comes to like historians, journalists, writers. Well, it's like, just argue with the facts. Who gives a shit about the fact that he wasn't there? Argue with his argument.
I look at it this way.
Yeah.
I've never been to LA, right?
Yeah.
I've never been to California.
You can't talk about it. You've been there or walked the streets. You can't talk about it, man. Stop it right there.
No.
Stop.
No. Because I know a lot of, no offense to Eric. I mean, he's clearly not included in this, but I know a lot of bad people who live in Los Angeles. I see the stuff that the fact that it's been turned into not you. No, I've got history. I've got history with people who have lived out there. One is good. The other one is, like
the other one was.
We see how the states run. We see how people are treated out there, law-abiding citizens as opposed to criminals. We've got homelessness is subsidized. Okay, like San Francisco. We have a friend who's moving from the city of San Francisco into the suburbs because she's got a heart for people, and like all of the wine moms and shit that she that she used to run with, they no longer like her because she changed her stance. She voted for Trump that last year, and you know who I'm talking about. No, so I don't want to.
Evan Barker.
Yeah, like
Evan Barker, Eric.
I've heard of that name. Oh, you guys mentioned it on the Adam Coleman thing, I think.
She was on
at the end. She came on. Yeah,
you referred to her as like the queen of apostate radio or something like that.
She's the reigning queen.
She is the queen. Yeah, she is the queen of apostate.
By the way,
Evan, we love you, baby.
You did get a comment, and I was gonna
the commenter
address it. Like this guy, and he's saying, "I'm out. These are deep staters." Well, I was just gonna say,
No, come back.
Who said that?
Come back. Who was it?
He was asking about he was talking about there was a 7-hour standoff allegedly by the IDF on October 7th. And that's what I was saying is like, sometimes we underestimate the possibility of ineptitude in that scenario. But again, no, I appreciate what you're saying, but I did address that. And in the end, I do disagree. And there is, again, a documentary where they actually go over the reasoning why they felt like their response was pretty substandard. They admit it was not a good response.
My thing is how else is a sovereign nation supposed to respond when 1,400 of its citizens were just murdered?
Well,
1,400 of its citizens were just slaughtered in cold blood. How is a sovereign nation supposed to like? I remember when the war, when Israel's response first started, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's not proportionate. It's disproportionate." The fuck is disproportionate? I want my enemy destroyed, defeated. That's proportionate. You took out hundreds of people. And then had the audacity to turn the entire Western left into the entire Western left activated and became the global intifada. You really like stop it. You started this.
Plus, they're still holding the goddamn hostages, man. Just if you guys are that traumatized by this, and it's like, oh my God, how can you do this to us? Give back the hostages so you could stop that. Give up your freaking leaders.
That's it.
That's it.
But they don't want to
sacrifice yourselves for your people, like real men. Are you supposed to do instead of do opposite? It's disgusting. It's really disgusting. And then I know Israel's not blameless and everything, but I think it's
They're
pretty
not.
one-sided.
They're not. I just don't give a shit. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't either.
Go ahead, Eric, because I'm gonna move on to one more thing.
Yeah, here the lesson to me for the Jews is like, okay, support for Israel in the United States is plummeting. The big bunny man, you have that absolutely correct. It is definitely plummeting, and to me, the reason is in the end, there's been too much sensorial approach to this, and you have the Douglas Murrays of the world say, "Oh, we can't talk about it." And
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. Yeah, 100%. Sure.
And my people, we used to be funny. We used to actually make jokes, and we used to not have a stick lodged right up there. But we've gotten way too uptight, and we don't allow people to talk. And that's really my message to all people, even the Douglas Murrays in the world. I understand that you think, and I've heard this from the pro-Palestinian people, that resentment for Israel will lead to anti-Semitism. And there are Jews who are like, okay, well, we got to protect Israel at all times so that we make sure anti-Semitism doesn't happen. But actually, what if your approach was just talk to them, and then maybe they would actually have a better view of Jews in Israel? And that's really my approach to it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with that. And I think, yes, you definitely can criticize Israel, even about the war, like, of course. Yeah. And you can criticize Israel. You can criticize why the United States is giving Israel so much money, or the UN, or whatever it is. Totally. That's a totally fair question. And I don't want to just give anybody that much money all the time and have any nation on earth have like a disproportionate amount of power over us. It's our country. Like I'm American first.
Exactly.
So
same here.
So I'm 100% like, I agree with you 100%, Eric. That's like, I hate when people do that. When people say, oh, you're, that's anti-Semitic. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's like, this is our country, and we want to make sure this is our money, our actual money. Me, you, Isaiah, Eric, me. This is our money from tax dollars. So we better, we have some say on this, and we should have some concern of where the money they're taking from us. Not they as in Israel or Jews, but the government and like what.
I'm sorry. This is the last time. I'm gonna be okay with our government going into and just handing our tax money over to some foreign conflict we have little to nothing to do with. I look at what, again, Ukraine scarred me. I got PTSD from all the fucking money that the Biden administration sent over there. Okay, it was ridiculous. Every other day, every other week, it was like literally they were like federal employees. It's like Zelensky. They literally treated Zelensky like he was a fucking government employee. I'm surprised. It was like, oh yeah, you get paid on the 15th and the 30th. That's kind of what it was. Every other day, it was like, well, we're giving $5 billion, and then another $10 billion, and we forgot we found another $3 billion that we forgot to give Ukraine. Here it is to Ukraine. We must keep the war machine going, and I am. If it wasn't for the there's a difference between having a war that's just and just having war. And unfortunately, what Zelensky and the rest of the rest of the military industrial complex, they wanted just war. That's all they wanted, just war. Just war, just war everywhere.
There's always that.
And
I'm
tired. And as a taxpayer, as someone who pays, I mean, I live in New York. We've got, I think, either the highest or the second highest tax burden behind y'all in California. Okay. This, I am over it. We pay enough taxes and don't get a return on our investment. So no. There's got to be some accountability in that regard. Let's move on, because I want to talk about something else here at home that's been bothering me. Of course, President Trump's been doing a very good job, in my opinion, over the last coming up on 3 months of the new administration. Lots of big things that are happening. Even bigger things are coalescing. I am, of course, I am America First, and I know Nos is, and this is an America First podcast. You can and you know where you can go if you're not. I know people who are actively rooting for China. We're born here in the United States. born here in the United States, I'm saying born, raised, have children, have families here in the United States, go to work every day with blue collar jobs. You know who you are, and they're actively rooting against the United States because their hatred for Trump is just that big. It's despicable. It's really just effed up. It truly. But there's something that has to be criticized. And I want to talk about this because there is a comedic factor, and there's something about it that I feel personally uncomfortable with. This whole talk about Trump getting a third term. Okay. So thanks to you, Eric.
Oh, thank you.
I want to add this here. We've got a tweet
nice.
and a clip from Real Time with Bill Maher. And maybe I guess we could talk about his great awakening about Trump. But I wanted to talk about this. Your tweet, your tweet. I don't know why I'm still calling it a tweet. Your post says Bill Maher asked Steve Bannon if any Democrat threatens Trump in his run for a third term, and Bannon replies, only a quote celebrity like Stephen A. Smith. And this is what he says. And shout to Eric, who is a Real Time with Bill Maher enjoyer, who, as you can see, he posts these wonderful clips and gets hundreds of thousands of views every time.
Is that accurate, Eric? Are you a fan of this show, or are you just sharing the videos for content?
This show, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought
bullshit.
I want to make sure.
like a Filipino, and $40 an hour. I've never seen this show before, but it's news to me. No, I was a big fan of his from Politically Incorrect.
Yeah.
And I just, what I respect the most about Bill Maher is that he has always platformed both sides. He allows debates. One of his best friends is who? Ann Coulter, who a lot of people forget. She was censored off of a lot of places and said, hey, you're too wild. We can't have you here. And then he really did her a solid by, giving her a large national platform. And I've always respected the fact that, yes, he doesn't agree with me on most things. I don't care. I respect his work.
I agree.
And
Same.
he has allowed so many conservatives to get a larger platform, and liberals, but that show is like how Johnny Carson was allowed, made a lot of comedian stars. He's made a lot of political people a lot bigger because of this, a lot of entertainers. So I am way positive on him. And
Me too.
The Republicans who get upset at me personally for posting his clips, well, guess what? I also post Gutfeld. But guess what? Gutfeld gets a very small fraction of Bill Maher because conservatives have a disturbing psychology where they would rather hate on a liberal artist than support a conservative artist. And so, and so you look at Gutfeld. I love clipping out Gutfeld. That he's clearly not on the same skill level as Bill Maher, but
no, not even. And no offense to.
It's 30 years versus 5 years. It's not a slam. Exactly. It's Bill Maher's been doing this for a very long time. He's a
very long time.
No, Bill's the man. I mean, I know there's plenty of things I disagree with him about, but he's been around since Politically Incorrect. He's a great stand-up comic, right? But he's also very funny off the top of his head. He's very witty. He's pretty knowledgeable.
And he's
also
funny
and
objective.
smart.
He's very objective.
Yeah, he's definitely lean. He's definitely a Democrat, leaning guy. But he's very, very anti-woke. He's been anti-woke since the '90s, since Politically Incorrect. That was a big part of his show. So I mean, I love that. He calls out the woke, the left and the far left all the time. Half of his editorials are about it. Like you said, he's had everybody on. He's had Ben Shapiro on a bunch of times. Any conservative, prominent conservative person. Steve Bannon. I mean, Jesus Christ, Steve Bannon, we're about to see right here.
He's
very principled. He's Breitbart. He's very principled. Only thing I'll say about Bill that annoys me sometimes is sometimes he forgets what he said last week. He'll do this awesome editorial about how transgender stuff is crazy in schools or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, he nailed it. I'm sharing it and everything. And then like the next week he'll talk in the panel. It's like, oh, is this stuff really going on or something? Or kind of downplay it. I'm like, Bill, you just had like a killer editorial talking about how serious this shit was and talk about getting the dick saw. So he kind of just forgets, I think, or whatever, or maybe feels a certain way, so he says it. But otherwise, he's a very principled guy, I think, and he's been a net positive for political discourse in this country.
He has, and so getting back to this situation that I don't know who started. Well, Bannon claims that he started this whole thing about getting Trump a third term. I'll let him speak for himself on this. But here's the clip. Eric Abbenante again clipped this out. Really appreciate your work in doing this. Here we go.
For a third term, is there any Democrat who scares you that he could be running against? Because I guess if we allow that, it could be Obama.
Absolutely. I think that'd be great. Alien versus predator. Let's do it. President Trump already said.
Alien versus Trump.
President Trump already said.
That's kind of a worse insult to Trump.
If you want to bring President Obama, who I think has lost his fastball, but go ahead and bring him. Okay. Right now, all the governors you have, I don't think anybody will stand up to Trump. You're going to have to run someone like a Stephen A. Smith or someone in your kind of celebrity category. That would be the Democratic nominee that would have the best shot at President Trump. But I think he's unbeatable. I think he's unbeatable because the coalition that he's built, and it's only going to get bigger because he's bringing back American manufacturing jobs to working class people. And the Democratic Party abandoned working class people for the credentialed class that you talk about all the time. And you can't cosplay being a populist.
No, you're right.
If you're not prepared to take hard things like that, like the trade deal.
For a third.
So
I just want to say real quick, Isaiah, just before we get into the meat of this, I think it's really stupid for like him to even think like it's a wise gamble to have Trump at 82 years old. First of all, I mean, it's stupid to do this third term thing because that just feeds into the fascism stuff, right? That's really bad. And that could really damage the Republican brand, obviously. But also it's like you're going to put him against Obama, who's still, like a younger guy. He's getting older, but he's still a young, sharp guy. And like, who knows what Trump's going to be like?
Hold on a second.
He eats McDonald's all the time. Like he might like have a stroke or something.
It's but Trump's lost about 20 pounds. He's in better shape now than he was back in his first term. But that's
time is undefeated though.
But time is undefeated.
I get what Isaiah was saying. Like
that's a gamble.
He did age younger somehow in the White House, but it is like ridiculous. We spent 4 years being like senile Joe Biden, and it's like, oh yeah, Trump should run for a third term and go till he's 89. It's like,
and Obama's no joke. Obama's very talented communicator. So
but
if he switches up and gets more moderate.
But I had to listen to this again. Okay, I had to listen to this again. One, and I've after much careful thought, if Bannon wants to go ahead and just screw with the left, he can go ahead and do that. And here's how you know, like, you really had to listen to what Bannon was saying. Okay. Why would you pit Obama against Trump when both men have served 2 terms already and are term limited as per the 22nd Amendment?
Yeah. Well, he's saying he's going to change it.
People.
Well, he's saying
messing with people.
He's saying that he wants to they're doing some kind of work in the background to change the amendment, I guess, or is that possible?
No.
Or can you make a new amendment that says third terms? We can't do third terms.
Listen,
actually.
we already look.
Is that possible?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Biden already tried to speak this quote unquote 28th Amendment into law, like he just tried to will it into law, like on his way out the door, or rather his people, the people who controlled Biden, because Biden wasn't in control of shit. Like the people who controlled Biden tried to push that. He's get up there on stage talking about the 28th Amendment is in the Constitution now. Is in the Constitution now. And now I'm going to get some tapioca pudding. Like the fact of the matter is, I think Bannon knows that there's no way Trump Trump is term limited. But I do think that as long as Democrats keep talking about it, because Democrats already perceive Donald Trump to be their great Satan. Okay. Donald Trump is the great Satan to the left. Like he's
a fascist, and
he's a fascist.
Mussolini, maybe
right,
Hitler.
He's a fascist, Hitler, homophobe, and all the rest. Right, like
predator.
that. That's what they love to say, and yet they can. It's like what
so
I
why
love.
Feed into it though? Why feed into it? Like what's the juice to get out of this?
Because what's the juice?
Yeah,
the juice I think is just to continue the mental dysregulation.
But can you? I mean, that's
to keep them unfocused.
At what cost?
Now, I don't like it. At what cost?
I don't think it's a good gamble. Like you're feeding directly into who the hell asked for a third term? This is a fascist move, right? So it's like you're giving them this red meat, and it's like there's so many ways to screw with the Democrats. Why don't pick some other ways? Like pick I thought it was really funny when somebody said, why doesn't Trump just say identify as a woman? So he's the first woman president. That's great.
That's wonderful.
That would be beautiful.
That would
be hilarious.
Be fantastic.
That's stuff you could do, and the left would be like their brains would explode because they don't know what to say. It's like, well, you can't just identify as a woman. Oh wait,
Yeah,
that would be nice.
That's low cost trolling. See now,
Yeah.
Isaiah, I will retort to this. It's not
What do you
just
think, Eric?
Bannon. Trump has echoed these sentiments exactly multiple times. So that's an issue on camera, by the way. So when you have echoed these sentiments multiple times, it's not just trolling anymore. It's the president. And they're going to go for this weird workaround where you can vote for JD Vance and Trump will be vice president. And then we'll do a swap out like Kamala and Biden right at the end. And then Trump will get a third term again. Now, here's the issue with that. I understand it's trolling. It's trolling. This is the one trolling that's really going to backfire.
I think so.
I think it will.
You can harness.
Ultimately, I do think it will.
Yeah, and this one is very scary because it actually really does damage him. It feeds into every criticism of him.
It does, and here's what I don't like. It takes away from JD Vance, who I believe in many.
He's up next. I think
he is up next, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I personally believe, like, if there is a guy who is the guy to continue the momentum of this current administration, it's JD Vance. JD Vance is easily, I mean, you're looking like people every day are getting a look into what a competent strong vice president looks like. And this is coming from people who really thought that JD Vance was a downgrade. I love JD Vance as vice president, and in many ways, I think that he's a whole hell of a lot more ruthless than Trump could be.
He's a better communicator, like we talked about.
If you really think about it, Trump is a 90s era Democrat.
Yeah,
he is a 90s era Democrat. He's very moderate in his policy. Well, I mean, moderate up until when it comes to purging the federal government of these fucking communists that were, embedded in the federal government for decades, even before Biden allowed like the street animals to run the fucking asylum.
Delousing the federal government.
Yeah, this is a delousing of the federal government. And when you get rid of USAID, that was the money. That was the ATM for the NGOs and all that. So there is a purge going on right now in the federal government that has to be done. Trump started it, and clearly he's on a very short amount of time, because whatever happens now has to be done before next year, before the midterms. That's a concern for me.
Why do they need to be done before the midterms? Because what's going to happen in the midterms?
Republicans have already lost a few special elections. They've lost a couple of special elections.
Why are Republicans losing special elections when the Democrats have a 27% approval rating? Why is
voter fraud?
No, God, no, because our film covers like all the actual rigged elections. They all happen after, like on really close elections that happen over time. When you get blown out by 10 points on election night, there was no voter fraud. You got blown out. So I want to ask, why are we getting blown out in deep red districts? What's happening there?
Interesting. I don't know.
That's a very good question.
I can answer it for you.
You answer, Eric.
Go ahead.
That is what you call the Elon Musk effect. Okay. And I know it's very painful to hear. I am like the lone wolf, it seems, who's on this case, but I'm gonna make this case for you. I have a relative who owns a Tesla type thing, and they had a swastika spray painted on theirs. Now, they were one of the people protesting. They were not paid. They were not a jobless loser. They did not know George Soros. There is genuine resentment for Elon Musk. And I need MAGA to understand this. Trump took a bullet for you, and so there's an emotional attachment to you. With Elon, this is like saying, "Oh, you have to like his George Soros." I don't have to like his George Soros. I'm free to criticize his.
No, Eric. On this podcast, you have to like Elon.
My bad. I didn't read the thing
after me. I like Elon.
I didn't read the thing before. I apologize. No, you're right.
Did you send him the release form? Did you send him the release form?
I did sign that too. Oh, so the issue with that is there are people who are, who consider this administration a make Tesla great again, not a make America great again administration. And
that's a fair criticism.
And they need to focus on wins for the American people. Now, obviously, okay, for those who know me, I don't just clip out Bill Maher. I basically do Media Matters for the left. So Media Matters would cover the right and try to gotcha them. I'm actually a lot more honest than Media Matters, to be frank, but I mostly cover Democrats, and I helped frame. I got a bunch of gotcha moments for Kamala Harris, right? I helped destroy her. I got the cloud computing clip. I got a bunch of clips. The Trump campaign used multiple of my clips in their commercials. So clearly, when it comes to Trump,
you and boxed wine, man.
Yeah, with Trump and Kamala,
you and boxed wine destroyed that woman.
Exactly. It's like I clearly had a side, and I chose Trump. But now that we're into Trump territory, you're allowed to say, hey, this isn't exactly what you campaigned on. Your priorities are a little out of whack, and we would like you to actually prioritize the constituents who elected you. Those are very fair criticisms coming from someone who actually helped take down Kamala.
So why do you think this is interesting though? Why do you think that why Elon is this? What is it that Elon's doing exactly that you think is turning red states or red districts?
Okay, no, it's a great question. So in the end, Doge is not an issue in a vacuum. I liked Rego when Bill Clinton did it, but the issue is he should be divesting from his companies if he actually wants to participate in Doge, because he has major conflicts of interest that you've already seen play out in kind of disturbing fashions. He gave himself like this $400 million armored, the Cybertruck that got this armored vehicle deal in the same month that they got recalled for glue.
Hold it. I gotta fact check you real quick.
Go for it. I love this.
That was not Trump. That was the Biden administration who gave him that $400 million deal, that $400 million contract. And the Trump administration was very clear that they were not going to fulfill that contract. So that conflict of interest is not there.
I'm going to flip it back to you. So no, actually that is incorrect. The Biden administration said that we are going to allow a prospective study of if the armored vehicles are worthy of this. The Trump administration said, no, we're just going to blanket give you this $400 million deal. So that is a major issue. Now with Doge.
When was that? Can you give me a link to that? Can you tell me, can you show me where that is?
Now that I don't have all of these off, I don't have.
We'll share it. We'll share it after. Share it after the show.
Yes,
share it after the show.
And so again, there's a lot of okay, I like the concept of Doge. I don't like how it's being executed. For instance, the Social Security thing. This is an important one. The phone lines. There's this fraud from the phone lines. I appreciate that they were looking into, okay, let's try and remedy this. But you can't do that by also shutting down the local offices where you would go and actually, if you can't call in to verify who you are, you need to actually go into the offices. So there's a lot of things that they'll selectively say, oh, this is great. But then in reality, oh, it's not. Infamously, they said we cut $8 billion. It was $8 million. A lot of the stuff they've cut, we've already allocated the money towards. So actually, they haven't saved us money in that respect. Unfortunately, Bill Clinton's Rego has cut more than Doge currently. That's an unfortunate fact. I don't want to be right about that, but Rego was far more effective than Doge. And so he's all hat, no cattle. When you look into what he's actually done, when you go through the Doge receipts, look at how many times they have been like, oh, yeah, well, actually, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. That's incorrect. Most of the Doge receipts are completely incorrect, and they haven't saved us a lot of money. They estimate $16 billion. $16 billion is what Doge has saved us. He's cost us certainly more than $16 billion in the savings. So that's my big issue. Again, I am America first, and I am really excited about a positive Trump presidency. Really, all I can see from it currently is that we stopped the bleeding on all the stupid Biden-Harris stuff. I don't really what are the big wins that we have in the first 3 months?
I would say primarily that when it comes to USAID, the money that was going to the nonprofit complex, the nonprofit industrial complex, needed to be destroyed, and USAID was the primary vector for all of those funds. I mean, there were others. I mean, they were getting money the nonprofit industry is really where my primary focus is when it comes to DEI and all these other nonprofits that were getting money, hand over fist from the federal government. That's being taken out, and that's what and that's important. I will look into that, and maybe I'll have and if you want, you're more than welcome to come back on the show and we can talk about it again, because this is something I probably should.
You better come back with sources, Eric.
Yeah.
Come back. Why did Chavez already message me that I'm banned for life? I mean, it's just really...
Oh fuck!
That's not true. The fake news. I didn't do that.
You put it in Hebrew. It was so racist. I mean,
I told you. I'm good with Hebrew, man. I'm Assad, man. Born
my class acts, obviously. And in the end, what I love about you guys is you guys are allowing debate. It's kind of rare.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Yeah, and I don't know enough about all this. I don't know all the details. So I'm interested to hear. I think that's an interesting theory. And yeah, we'd love that. I mean, I'd love to have Eric back on. Come with some receipts.
Yeah,
I like how Eric's
talk about this.
I feel like he's a moderate-minded guy. He's balanced. I think he sounds like he's, I think you're conservative leaning, but I'll be Democrat leaning if it's better for the country. It depends on what the hell's what's going on, what the policies are, what they're doing.
Just don't be.
I'm not married to the Republican Party I'm not married to MAGA by any stretch of the imagination. So,
my thing is this: when it comes to.
I appreciate it.
I am against. Well, for one, I'm first and foremost I'm anti-communist. Okay,
yeah,
I am an anti-leftist.
That I'm committed to. Yeah,
I am an anti-leftist. I believe, I hate every element of communism. I hate fascism, all of them. If the Democrats woke up today or tomorrow and said, we're gonna finally purge all of these commie freaks from our ranks, I would congratulate the Dems on finally realizing that they have a heroin problem, and they're finally getting on the road to recovery. Okay. The issue has always been in the extremes. The issue has always been in not having political parties that work that work for the interest of the people, of we the people.
Yep.
Okay.
Negotiate things too together.
No one wants to negotiate. Like, and this is
Figure things out.
This is what this is why I've said that Trump and America First represents a third way, because you had the active Democrats who were faithfully, who were taking the monopoly on culture, politics, the whole bit, like the education, the whole bit. And then you had the establishment Republicans who were just, happy to not get the shit beat out of them by some, by some leftist fruitcake. Like but that's basically what it was. And that's what America's been largely dealing with for the last several years. If you notice, I look at the reason why I'm riding with Trump the way that I am. It's not just because I voted for him. Like, I voted for him. I made that decision. I made a lot of people upset when I did. I don't particularly care about their feelings. If you're upset, if you are someone who needs everyone to believe the same as you do and make the same political decisions as you, I'm sorry, you've gone into cult territory. Okay, love you, but that's not what we do here. My point is this: as long as we keep to the Constitution, both the Democrats and the Republicans within the establishment, that's why people call it the Uniparty. They each had roles to play, and they played their roles. And at the end of the day, the middle class were the ones getting effed over. Okay, that's what's been happening. And Trump is the first president in nearly 40 years to act, I would say longer than that. Trump is the first president in a very long time to actually and objectively take the concerns of the middle class as his own. This is a man who actually works for the people. I see that now. And I despise the institutional, the credentialism, the institutional thinking that's captured so much of the Democrat Party, because I used to be a Democrat for 15 years. I voted Democrat. My voting record, like Eric, my voting record is Obama in 2008, Obama in 2012, Hillary in 2016, Biden in 2020. Okay?
Oh, you're recent. This is welcome.
Oh yeah, thank you. No, yeah, I'm very recent. But I voted for Trump because the second that the Democrats got power, after presenting themselves as the arbiter, as like we're gonna bring the country back to normal. We're gonna bring the country back to normal, and then we elect them. And then the first thing that Biden does on day one is turn Title VII and Title IX inside out, making it possible for men in dresses to compete against women, and possible for men to overtake sports and overtake sororities and shit like that. Like, women could not file a Title IX complaint. They were getting run out of their own restrooms, their own sports, and their own like private areas. And Biden made that possible on day one of his presidency. And then there was the whole free speech, the anti-free speech thing, deputizing social media to be their thought police. Like, there was so much about the last 4 years that turned me into this guy, this first principles guy. Like, I don't want America to go back to that. And if it means never voting Democrat again, then God damn it, I'll do it. Because they're lost. They're lost. They have no message. They have no principles. They are solely running on emotions and fuck Trump. That's it. So not to go on that rant, but like, Trump represented that third way to me. Do you really honestly think that if we had like a like an establishment Republican like as president right now, do you really think we'd be getting half of the shit done that the Trump administration is doing right now? I don't. I'm serious. I'm asking.
He did have a hostile takeover of the Republican Party that was quite beneficial because, as you succinctly pointed out, like he had this collection of 80-20 issues that really no one else was taking. You know, if you remember, it was supposed to be Hillary versus Jeb, and it was really like the same policies but different pantsuit. And so in this situation, you finally got someone who, you know, he had again, it was a unique platform. No one else was running on this. So I appreciate Trump for at least providing some new options for people at the very least, and to take over this hostile party. Now, the issue with that is when he won the first time, he literally had said, don't donate to the GOP, donate to your boy, Donald Trump. Okay. And when that happened, the GOP went to war with him. And then we accused them of being complicit in the 2020 steal, allegedly, because, and I'm saying that for the YouTube censors, guys, calm down. But in the end, it is a major issue of, hey, you know, if you're going to try and hostile take over the party, they might both join together to go against you. And so he does represent like the system coalescing all of their power to go against him, and he still won. It's pretty interesting.
He did, and that's why. And listen, but if you let these people tell it,
we're in the middle of a hostile government takeover. I want to talk about it, but I'll be late for work. And if you say, wait a minute, do we have to stop this? We had one, but you didn't want that lady in office. Hostile government.
Off is the direction you can fuck.
I've been wanting to do that all night.
Yeah, you shouldn't have run Kamala. Like James Carville said, it really was the 7th string quarterback. You had nobody who was going to beat Trump after the bullet, but you could have got closer to where you didn't feel like you were in disarray after you lost. That's how bad Kamala lost. So yeah, she was maybe the worst candidate since Dukakis, really, in terms of execution.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm at the risk of going on another rant.
Well, before you make the other rant, Isaiah, I just want to say, what do you think about this, Eric? That my claim that the last 2 elections, general elections, that the Democrats lost, like Hillary, right, and Kamala, that they got shot themselves in the foot twice because of DEI, really, right? Because in a lot of ways, I mean, of course, Hillary was establishment, so like maybe it doesn't matter, it's because they're the Clintons or whatever. But at the same time, they put so much stock into it. It's got to be the first woman president. It's got to be the first woman president. And then same thing with Kamala, woman of color. That's why she had to be the vice president in the first place, right? Because Biden said, I'm going to have a woman of color as a vice president, which is like absurd thing to say, right? Like, I don't give a shit what the identity is. Like, I need a Jewish man to be my vice president. Like, what? You know, it's like I need a Latino woman. It's like, why? Just how about you have the best person you could possibly get? Like, it's just crazy. So what do you think about that statement that DEI shot them in the foot twice? They kind of committed political suicide twice with those elections. And if they plan on running Kamala again against whoever is next, JD Vance or Trump in the 3rd term, which of course, if it's Trump in the 3rd term, it's going to be Obama probably. That if it's Kamala again or some other woman, has to be a woman or woman of color, Michelle Obama, maybe like that. That's probably going to be again. You know,
it's a great question. I think to buttress your point and even add on top of it, it's really the conversation of do not anoint your candidate. Actually, go through a primary process,
right?
Because
exactly. Hillary was a coronation.
Yeah, Hillary
and Kamala really at the end too.
Yeah, Hillary and Bernie, and then with Kamala, there was a lot.
Screwed Bernie, so that wasn't even fair. Like Bernie would have probably beaten her if it was even, right? Because like he had the groundswell. He was pretty popular. I liked Bernie back then. That
rigging caused a lot of Republicans because a lot of Bernie bros became MAGA, and it was because it was because they presented the evidence to Bernie Sanders, and then of like, oh, you had your election rigged, and then he was like, you know what? Instead of telling people the truth,
the billionaires and the billionaires,
I will take the mansion in Vermont. So let's go with that option. And so he could have been a brave man and actually talked about, hey, Hillary screwed me, but he rolled over, and that's his legacy.
Became a team player. Yep.
Yep. So, in the end, I actually caution the Republicans the exact same way. Do not anoint anybody. Let the primary process play out, or else you will end up in the exact same situation where you have this VP who is attached to potentially an unpopular presidency, whether you like it or not, and then you're anointing that person against the actual group. So it's a two-sided conversation. But yes, the Democrats, they haven't been very democratic the last few elections.
Not at all. Not
far
at all.
from it. Far from it.
And I just real quick.
You guys actually took the words out of my mouth, because that was the whole thing that really pissed me off about the vast majority of people who went for Kamala, because you didn't pick her. You didn't pick Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was selected for you.
Yep.
And this was the third, not the first, not the second, but the third time that a Democrat that the party establishment selected our candidate. Okay? Yeah. Because listen, 2012, 2016, 2020, I was diehard Democrat, but I wasn't a Bernie fan. But the establishment still won. The establishment still won out. And unfortunately, the one thing that bugs the hell out of me is this insistence that he was this viable candidate. I can't tell you how many fucking times I keep hearing from people who say, well, if we had just elected the black woman who could have we wouldn't have any of these problems and any of these issues that we're going through right now with fucking Trump, that fucking rat. I hate Trump. I wish this fucking, they go off on this tangent. And my whole thing is, Kamala Harris did not claim to be black until it politically suited her, bro.
No, she was Indian before.
She was hardcore in like red dot Indian. Anything. The only time, no joke, her family, I'll never forget, and shout to my fiance who I know is watching this. I love you, baby.
Shout out to Kareem.
My fiance shared with me a piece in a Jamaican newspaper, I shouldn't say a Jamaican, the Jamaican newspaper, The Gleaner, okay, that discussed how Kamala Harris's Jamaican family, she is part Jamaican. Donald Harris is
with a Marxist dad, right?
With a Marxist fucking dad. Yeah. Marxist professor he taught at Stanford for many years.
That's legit. Yeah, I looked that up. Yeah.
Here's the quick side note about old man Harris. That man has lived in Washington D.C. this entire time. Lived not too far from the White House. Guess how many times Kamala went to go see his ass? Not once. Wow. But anyways, this article in The Gleaner talked about how Kamala's Jamaican, like Jamaican heritage, like her people down there did not claim her after she decided that she was going to use her Jamaican heritage to start pushing marijuana decriminalization in California. Do you understand how goddamn retarded you have to be? Well, I'm Jamaican, so me get your trees legalized. Like really? Like what type of fucking Miss Cleo shit is that, bro? That's awful. But seriously, like that's when her family that's when her family was like, nah, like no, we done. We not doing that.
She's so fake, man.
I thought you were going to
my
the
God.
slave owner portion. You know that she was potentially the descendant of a slave owner. They were
Probably.
yeah.
No. The slave owner is Jasmine. It's Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's a rumor. It's a rumor, but there's a rumor that she was descendant of our Irish slave owner.
Yeah. I did hear that. An
Irish and Jamaican slave owner. Yeah.
I would be surprised.
That's what I thought you were gonna go at, but yeah, it's all hilarious. She had so many issues as a candidate. It's actually kind of startling that they thought that you could sneak her past the goalie of the American public.
Crazy.
She just wasn't ready for prime time. And honestly, you know,
I don't think she'd ever be ready for prime time, man. Especially in the time of podcasting. Like, why she didn't have the balls to go on Rogan. It's like, of course you go on Rogan, just because you got to go for it. You got to go for it. Go on Rogan. He's got like 10 million listeners or 14 million episodes. And if he's, and it's with her, he's gonna have like a fucking 100 million listeners at least or something and viewers of that. It's like, do you want to get your message out? Do you deserve to be president? There's the time to talk to him. And honestly, it probably would have helped her in a way, but she didn't have the balls to do that.
Yeah, and with the Democrat side, it's tough because they had a lot of choices. Again, none of them were going to beat Trump. But if you look forward to 2020,
not her though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was. James Carville was right.
Yeah.
Seventh string quarterback.
Seventh string. Yeah.
But
James Carville called her a seventh string quarterback.
Yeah. And I had to explain that to my wife. I was like, that means there were 6 people better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, it's just like to me, it's a big. It's a big much ado about nothing. They were going to lose anyways. But you look at 2028, it's a very interesting conversation because I really do think a celebrity that I did agree with Steve Bannon on that. The celebrity will probably win the Democrat, maybe even Republican nomination. Mark Cuban, he came on the podcast from Tara Palmieri, who I am a producer for. And he was talking, he rebuked the whole notion of, hey, I'm going to run for president. But actually, why did you sell the Mavericks if you're not running for president? That's like your passion. And you're very that's all you really cared about.
So is he really going to run for president?
Oh, he's running. I mean, again,
Mark Cuban is really thinking about running for president.
I'm going to tell you, he directly rebuked it, but he did say, if I was going to run, I would run as a Republican.
Oh, that motherfucker. Really? He did the whole O.J. Simpson thing. Oh,
yes.
I didn't kill her, but if I did, really?
Get
out of here.
Good analogy.
Yes. And I do agree with him that there is a lane. I'm not saying I would vote for him. I'm saying he's actually got great instincts on this of there is going to be an opening. The heir apparent to Trump is going to be polarizing. You're either going to love him or you're not. And so the person who runs against that person might actually have a lot of support galvanized behind them. And again, on the Democrat side, they are so inauthentic. They cannot communicate.
Yeah.
I mean, they think authentic communication is swearing.
Yeah.
That was the memo. Swear more.
Tampon Tim out there.
Yeah. And
I want to punch him in the face.
We just need to swear more on podcasts. That's what Trump did. It's
leave that to us, okay? Leave that to us.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Right.
That's what we do. That's what makes us cool.
I mean,
well, actually, it's funny. My mom, who Robin Carter, shout out to mom. Love you, mommy.
Shout out to Mama Carter.
Jeez. Yeah, Mama Carter, and of course, and my father, Kevin Carter. Matter of fact, it's their 45th wedding anniversary. 45th wedding anniversary. 45th coming up July 12th.
Actually, a couple days ago was my parents' wedding anniversary. It's probably like their 40th or something, 41st.
Oh God, God bless. Absolutely.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
The reason why I bring up my mom is because my mother was very, very sweet about she watches the show. And she told me a couple days ago that I'm going to wash your mouth out.
Yeah. We get bar soap in our mouth.
But the one thing that she did say was, she said, "You present that we present great." She was like, "I love you, son. You're doing well." It's like, "I love you, old man." I was like, that kind of got me right here. I love you, mommy. Thank you for that. I had to shout out my mom real quick for that. I thought because we were talking about cursing, I just thought that was.
Thanks for creating Isaiah, Mama Carter, and raising him up.
You've got good producer instincts, Mama Carter. I agree.
Yeah.
You're 100%.
He's a real producer.
Give him more notes.
Yeah.
He needs it. So good.
Well, the voice actually comes from my dad. Like I'm dead serious. If you listen to my father talk, like I sound exactly like I've got 4 brothers underneath of me, and all of us sound like some variation of Kevin Carter. Like no joke.
I guarantee you voiceover work is in your future. You have such a good broadcasting voice. As soon as I heard it, I was like, and you know, Chavez is great too, but Isaiah's voice, man, I'm just, yeah, but no, seriously, Isaiah.
What am I, chopped liver?
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're
Isaiah's got a great
pate, baby.
You've got more of an air.
No. I got a great voice too, guys. I mean, I can.
No. You're not
my radio voice.
No, you're not. You're not chopped liver. You're foie gras, pal.
Foie gras. What's that mean? What's that? I don't even know what that means. That's rich for my blood.
He just gave you a compliment, and you're not smart enough to even understand it.
Foie gras? Yeah, I'm a simple man, man.
You know what that mean, though?
Foie gras? Foie gras? Is that Korean?
That was incredible.
I'm gonna take that as an insult. I don't know what that means.
Oh my god!
You know, I don't understand what you're saying, so I'm gonna take it as an insult.
What's that from? That's Kevin Hart in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I was trying to remember where that's from. I'm gonna take it as disrespect, or maybe it's the other guy, the bald guy. No, it was Kevin Hart. It was Kevin Hart.
That was just me. That's how I normally talk. Yeah, it was.
That was from 40-Year-Old Virgin. Yeah. That's
so.
Great. Anyways,
I do want to end the show on one note. Well, quick question for you, Eric, before you go, or before we go, because we've had a lot of fun tonight.
You've got 6 more hours after I go. Yeah.
Oh no, we don't do that. No.
It's just the prelims. We're like a UFC event.
Right. Exactly. Shoot. I got shit to do. I got shit to do tomorrow.
Me too.
Are you a soccer fan by chance?
So my rankings go, I love NFL, college football, then EPL. I don't watch NBA anymore. That's how bad the game has gotten. So I watch the Premier.
You know, the NBA is ass. I can't watch it either.
I watch Premier League. I love Premier League. My team is Nottingham Forest, which is actually doing very well this year for the first time in a very long time.
Didn't y'all just get beat by somebody this weekend?
We lost to Everton and Pickford.
Right. I was like, yeah, I had
England's number 1 stopped us.
Yeah. Have you seen? Matter of fact, I watched a clip of Roger. I forget his last name. Men in Blazers. He's like one half of the Men in Blazers.
You know who you're talking about. I do. Yeah, they really cornered the market on soccer podcasts. That's like, yeah.
Well, there are others, they do. Men in Blazers primarily does like Premier League stuff. They might touch a little bit on MLS. I'm an MLS guy.
Be right back, guys.
Go ahead. My issue is with my club is DC United. I've been a fan of this club for about 12 years.
Was that the Wayne Rooney team?
Yes. Wayne Rooney.
Cool.
So I was introduced to DC United back in 2013 by a gentleman by the name of we called him Big Rob Gillespie. Okay. And he was one of the original founders of La Barra Brava. Okay. One of which there were 3 supporter groups that started that were founded along with DC United in 1996. I want to give a quick shout out to Ale, who is Oscar Zambrano's nephew. It's a good kid. I like this kid. I need the next time I'm in town, I actually want to meet him. We need to break bread. Why am I bringing them up? Because I have a bit of a soccer rant to go on. If you look at the screen underneath of my underneath of my name is Sell the Team Jason. Jason Levian is one of the owners of actually he's the majority owner. Him and Steve Kaplan. I've been a fan of this club, like I said, for 12 years. And Rooney was the manager from like the first half of 2022. I'm sorry, the second half of 2022 and then all of 2023. I am tired of what I've been seeing from this club. We lost our fourth match in a row last night, 1-0 to FC Cincinnati. DC United, I don't think it's like we can't win at home. We keep dropping points at home.
Where are you at in the table?
Right now, I will tell you. Let me just pull it up.
Clearly not the top of the table, or you would have known that.
Oh, no. I would assume that we are somewhere near the bottom, but I'm gonna tell you that right now.
What's up with this soccer shit? It's America.
Well, there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. I know it's a complete departure from politics, but we are right now, and I will share this screen.
I'm just kidding. I'm a soccer fan, Eric.
Yeah, I was saying, just so you guys know, I played soccer for like over a dozen years. I was always the right defensive back. So
nice. Okay.
You still
play? You still play like pickup games or something?
Not really anymore, because everyone who plays pickup games speaks a different language than me, and so it's just tough. Like you know, like when you go to the park, it's like, oh, no one's speaking. Okay, never mind. Okay, well, you know, but
Blanquito, you know.
Yeah. I only know like construction worker Spanish, like nivel and you know, stuff like that. Esquina, you know, I don't know, like, you know, I don't know. So
how'd you learn that? Were you a construction worker?
I worked on you know, outdoor renovation after the pandemic. I was like, anything where I'm not wearing a mask, cool. So yeah, it was actually it was nice. But yeah, my big issue is, as a defender, this is a cardinal rule, and you're taught this. And if you see people break this, you know they're idiots, which is you're just not supposed to pass towards the middle in dangerous situations. Just always pass out. And when you see defenders lose their mind and break this cardinal rule, it is just so maddening. And then the other thing is, I was the defender on a corner where I would be near post, right? So you're the one, the ball is coming at you. You have a lot of like decisions to make there, and it's quick hand-eye coordination, very helpful. But yeah, it's just people don't respect. Like it's a tough game. It's a serious game. A lot of concussions happen in soccer, actually.
Yep.
So
saw a particularly nasty one last week. Well, Walker Zimmerman of Nashville got kicked in the face. A guy tried to hit a bicycle kick, and Walker Zimmerman went in for a header and got a face full of homie's boot, and it knocked him right out. It was against Charlotte, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was a nasty one. Go ahead.
Now it is annoying because Chavez would be like, yeah, they flop, and they do flop. That's annoying. But there are like,
hey, don't be putting words in my mouth.
No, I can do a great Chavez impression.
Do it.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Unfortunately, you have a bad voice like me. You don't have an Isaiah Carter voice.
Hey man, I have a great voice. Should I do it?
You know,
I gotta work on it.
You don't sound like Isaiah. So,
oh god,
I have to sound like Isaiah.
Yeah.
Oh,
he sound. You know, Isaiah's doing a straight commercial, and then it's Chavez. No, I'm just
Chavez.
So thank you. I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you to say. Even though
but yeah, so for me as a football fan, I get very frustrated at bad defense and flopping.
So there was the other reason why I'm bringing this up is because there was a lot of bad defense on display last night. Lucas Bartlett, who I like him, okay, center back. Normally a center, I like him. He's a very good center back any other time. Last night, I almost saw that man. That man almost did a no-look back. Tried to do a no-look back pass to the goalkeeper, and damn near put it in his own net. I got the tape. I can show you. But last night was an abysmal match. Like, I'm talking like defenders running in. This has been happening the last couple of weeks. Defenders running into each other. Like you got three DC United players going for a ball, and all of a sudden, like, the play blows up and none of them have the ball. And then, San Jose puts it in the net for their sixth goal. That happened not this past game, but the last match. I am over it when it comes to this club and their ineptitude. And that's why I'm angry about it. Okay. Behind me is a jersey for one of the best international players this team ever that my club ever brought in, Taxiarchis Fountas. I could do a whole fucking show based on what they did to him. Okay. I am tired of this club, and I'm not tired of the people who work for this club. Let me make that distinction very clear before I really get started. I am not angry at the players. I am not angry at the coaching, at the staff. I'm angry at one coach in particular, but the vast majority of the coaches, the majority of the staff, I'm not pissed off at any of them. I'm coming for your boss. Okay. And I'm not even mad at Ali Mackay. Shout to Ali Mackay, who's general manager and the chief soccer officer of this club. Okay. I want to talk to Jason Levian for a second, who's the majority owner of this club. Landon Donovan asked this question last week. And I'm gonna ask the same question. Let me just do solo layout just real quick for a couple minutes. I don't want to. Landon Donovan asked this question, and I'm gonna ask this question also. Do you care about any of this? Do you care about what's happened to your club? It's 2000. You've had DC United since 2012. When was the last time we went to the playoffs? 2019. It was the last time we went to the playoffs. Wooden Spoon season 2022. Wooden Spoon season 2013. DC United, last place. Audi Field is an unserious mess of a stadium that shouldn't be given the year that it was built. You built that stadium without a sun study. You built that stadium with only 3 locker rooms, an incomplete roof, and this is supposed to be the new place where all these championships and everything else comes. You have a toxic supporter culture nowadays. Barra Brava just came back, but it seems like these supporter groups are far more concerned about, political correctness, appearing to be good and anti-racist people instead of, results on the field. You can't sign anybody after after what you did to Taxi Food, after what was done to Taxi Fountas. You blew Wayne Rooney out the door when that man begged you for an extension into 2024. Wayne Rooney then went into the meat grinder that is the English Championship and got blown out of not one but 2 teams in the lower tiers of England in less than a year. That's on you, Levy. And yes, I'm blaming you. That man was actually Wayne Rooney was actually coming into his own as a coach under this badge. And you blew him out. You let him walk, and you knew that he wanted to be that he wanted to manage, that he wanted to advance his career, and the place that gave him a shot, the only American club that gave him a shot at the twilight of his career was you. And you blew him and you blew Pete Shuttleworth right out of here. I have heard rumors they're unsubstantiated, that you plan on not fielding, that the Academy is planning on not fielding a U14 squad this year. Why? You're in the fertile crescent of soccer talent, sir. DC, Maryland, Virginia is the fertile crescent of soccer on the East Coast. More talent has passed through that region, and practically we're talking about you have an abundance of talent down there to pick from, and you're not willing to do what needs to be done? Are you kidding me right now? What are you doing? I could go on. I could go off about Troy Lesesne. Okay, I don't like him anymore. Lesesne, as far as I'm concerned, is using players wrong. You bench your GK1 after he's on pace to allow like 80 goals. You got a defender who's healthy that you're not using. You got another kid who you just signed who you're not using him. Yet every single week, every single time I keep hearing about depth. DC doesn't have depth. You don't care about your own franchise. You don't care about your own team. Audi Field gets hoarded out to 2 women's soccer clubs. One of them can put more asses in the seats than yours. A UFL spring football team and a rugby team. Not to mention the Truth and Service Classic that's done with Howard University. If you don't care about your club, if you don't care about winning championships, if all you care about is just being this lifestyle brand for rich Washingtonians, for rich, well-connected leftist Washingtonians, and not giving, what real fans of the game actually want, pack your shit, I'm quoting Landon Donovan, in the words of Landon Donovan, take your profit, pack your shit, and get out. We don't need this. We do not need this. I come from New York City to matches down in DC when I come down. You think I like coming down for these matches, to see you guys lose like that, to see this club shit it on a regular basis? And to know that the only reason why there is this culture of losing is because you, as the manager, are not serious? I'm sorry, as the owner of this club, are not serious? Let someone serious buy this club. I am using this platform. This is a non-political, this is a political show, but I am saying this right now as a fan of this club, as a friend of the badge. Sell the team, Jason Levian. I don't care who you sell it to. You got a bunch of guys down there who would take it. You want to sell it to Ted Leonsis, who owns the Capitals? Sell it to him. You want to sell it to Josh Harris, the owner of the Commanders? Sell it to him. Hell, talk to Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens. He might buy it. But I've had enough of this foolishness out of this club. I've had enough of this stupidity, enough of this ineptitude, enough of this unserious, this unfocused behavior. Get your life together. And if you're not going to field a winning product on the field, then get out. Take your profit and go. Because you're wasting the fans' time now. Anyways, that's the end of my rant. Sorry about that, guys. I had to get that off my chest.
No, it was wonderful. This is the DC United podcast after all, so it makes perfect sense.
No. I am just a dedicated fan. Okay, I am a dedicated fan who has been blessed by God to have a great I'm a fan who happens to talk politics. Okay, and I love this club. I have been a fan of this club for years. Rob Gillespie passed away about 4 years ago. Whatever I do is with this in relation to this club is in his honor. This is shit. What's going on with DC United right now? This is a team in disarray. I'm tired of seeing it.
Really quick.
Anyways,
and just one quick question, and then we'll go. But is it worse than Daniel Snyder?
I say you lagging, bro.
I am lagging a bit. Sorry.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
I was thinking. Yeah, my Wi-Fi connection was thinking along with me. Is he as bad as Dan Snyder? I would say Levian's a little worse because for one very important reason. Snyder at least cared about competing, about putting a good product on the field. He cared. I will say that about Dan Snyder. He was a piece of shit. But he was incompetent at what he did. But let's be honest. Sean Taylor, rest in peace. Robert Griffin III in his prime. Okay. The Redskins were at times a good team under his stewardship. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Dan Snyder was just this bastard who couldn't get right. I mean, he was, but at least he cared about the Redskins to a certain extent. This guy don't give a fuck. Listen, building a stadium, you take the United out of a RFK stadium, 18. You put them in a stadium where they do no sun, so you got nasty shadows all over the place. The roof over the east and western halves of the side of the stadium, the roof over the stands was incomplete and wasn't done until 2023. Like there are obvious things done over the last several that has just proven that don't give a fuck. Levian about this club. So if you don't care about putting a winning product out, then sell the club to someone who does. That's all I'm saying about that. I want to thank for appreciate. I know I'm begging a little. We'll just go. Thank you all so very much for stopping by. Again, your time to come. Can you hear me? Still lagging?
Barely. You sound like two robots having sex with each other currently. But it's I do really appreciate this, you guys. Like, you guys are just absolutely wonderful. And really quick, so you can follow me. I'm the only Eric Abbenante, so I'm pretty easy to find. You can find my wife, Lila Hart, LilaHart.com. And then I'm producer for Tara Palmieri, a great independent journalist. You check out the Epstein podcast if you're wondering what she does. But go to the YouTube page for Tara Palmieri, go to Lila's page, and then, you can find me. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I've been absolutely wonderful. And anytime you guys want to have me back, I will come on and talk again.
And you are well to it, bro.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get you back on here, Eric. I like the kind of moderate point of view, the fair point of view. We definitely don't mind having a little debate in here as well. Disagreement.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's exciting. It's good. It makes for good, good radio.
Yeah,
good YouTube.
Absolutely. Everyone else, to everyone here, thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you we stream every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Here on X, on YouTube, on Rumble. If you want to support the show, if you feel so inclined, you could do so at buymeacoffee.com/apostate radio. Please like and subscribe on all platforms. And we will talk to you soon. Oh, before I go, We are going to have, because I was an idiot this week and forgot that I was on vacation, Friday is our 10th show. We're going to have a show on Sunday, but we are having a special hour episode of Apostate Radio. We will be joined by disaffected host and Vermont's finest, Joshua Slocum. Cannot wait to have him on. I have been waiting for this day for quite some time. Thank you all for joining us, and for Nos, for Eric Abbenante. We will see y'all next time.